I'm sorry for this unexpected delay because I went to the office and there was some problem. Then I came back. I made all the settings over here, so there is no issue at all. Just a slight delay in starting the program. So first of all, welcome to this masterclass for setting up dairy plant. This program is our flagship program, and we started it somewhere back in around 2007, 2008. And since then, I think we have organized around 70 such programs at regional level, at Noida, Delhi NCR level, as well as in some other countries also, like we did it in Sri Lanka, we did it in Nepal also. So before I start, let me share a brief journey of me as an entrepreneur, because you know, whatever area you want to enter into, I think that journey, you know, the intent of that journey remains the same. So I am Kuldeep Sharma. I'm a dairy technologist, and I passed out from NDRI Karnal in 1987, and post that, after completing the course, I joined Quality Group for their ice cream plant, which was by the name of Gaylord Ice Creams. And then I worked with their different divisions at Bombay, Pune, Jaipur. I set up a couple of their plants. And as luck would have it, at the end of 89, I started to feel that it will be good if I do something of my own. So I was finding, you know, the daily kind of, I was production head, so all kind of production scheduling for ice cream plant and going through the same rut time and again. So rather, you know, all the activities which I did as project management in that capacity, so I found those areas to be much more close to my heart and close to my abilities. So in 1990, 1st January, I founded this company, Suruchi Consultants. So probably in this part of the world, this is one of the oldest organized dairy consulting firm. And you know, in entrepreneurship, we have to learn a couple of things. First of them is that most of the time, the decision which you take is not right. And most of the time, that decision is not going to give you things as you plan. But the important part is that how much you want to stick yourself to that particular conviction with which you have taken that step. So with me, my conviction was more on the project management side, but the moment I started, I came to know that in India, you cannot set up a new dairy plant because dairy was under licensing. So that first year I was having a couple of projects. My first project was Enjoy #1 ice cream. And now that plant has been taken over by Vadilal. It's in Bareilly. But then in 1991, dairy got delicensed. From 92, more opportunities came, and 94, 95, somehow I got an opportunity to go to Nepal. And then in around 7-8 years time, I did almost 60 to 70% of all the organized dairy over there. That was the period when we tried out everything. And this is the second learning which you should take as an entrepreneur, that most of the time, an entrepreneur wish to do everything on his own. So first we acted as a consultant, then we started to trade the equipment, then we started to fabricate the equipment, then we started to integrate the equipment. We had a very big setup for manufacturing. And that was the time around 2002, 2003, that I thought that I think that probably this is not what I was supposed to do. I started this journey from project management, so that part is good, but not this manufacturing and fabrication, because so many people are doing it. So it can always be, you know, you can always share the design, share your concept, and you can always get the plant integrated with your own team as per your own choice. But what is more important is that the dairy entrepreneurs as such, they require a different kind of support. So plant is probably the terminal point. But before setting up the plant, there are so many things for which, you know, they they inquire, and there are so many areas, where they need the support. So we set up this Dairy Entrepreneurship and Technology Development Center in 2005 at Noida. And then before that, our setup was more of a manufacturing kind of a thing. It was a rented premise. I think the last rented premise was in 2003-4 was around 20,000 square feet area. But then we set up our own center at Noida. And then from there, the journey took a different path altogether. So it was supporting, the focus all the time remained the dairy entrepreneur, right from the day one till, the moment I am talking to you. But the way of supporting that focus area, or the way we were implementing our strategies to support that focus area, those things kept on changing. So then we started this program, and in 2007, 2008, then during that time only, around 2010-11, we started to see opportunity in dairy farming also. Commercial dairy farming was getting some traction. And then we also saw that when we looked at the dairy farming sector, we saw that there was no data available. All the data was available with veterinarians and all that. So we found a very big need, and to support entrepreneurs, we were the first one to do vision documents for Government of India as well as for general public. 2020 vision document, 2030. And then we, for the first time, brought about the dairy farm structure, sustainable dairy farm structure. We worked as a research partner with the IFC, and also, again, the focus remains that the kind of information, what is that typical, what is that sustainable size of a dairy farm, which an entrepreneur may require. Because processing, absolutely right, we were very clear, we are very clear, and we think that in future also we have got good clarity to share with the entrepreneurs. But on dairy farming, practically nobody was having those kind of information. So after doing that, then we opened those information for the public domain. And then 2016, it was the time when for the first time Government of India took our services. I became national lead with FSSAI for dairy. And in that, I led the team to conduct milk adulteration survey in 2016, 2018. I got to know about, the milk, raw milk profile throughout the country. We developed some programs for food safety, and we are a panel partner with them till date on food safety. Indeed, we are conducting some online program, and I am developing one online program, let's say, for TOT, for developing trainer, on food safety aspects, because dairy is an essential item, and under current circumstances, it becomes much more pertinent, to deliver safe milk to all the consumers. So journey is quite long, and every 10 years I saw that some change has occurred, and I think this is the time when we are finding some other kind of changes happening with our organization setup also. So now we are becoming more complete in terms of that now we support dairy entrepreneurship, dairy entrepreneurs in something beyond, let's say, their concept validation, or beyond setting up their plant. We are also doing activities like helping them develop new products. We are also helping them. We have got a safe labs, which is an NABL accredited lab, so as to standardize their products. We also have set up an incubation center and accelerator where we can help them, build up their business and in any space. It's not that only dairy plant or some plant at a farm or something like that, like supplying milk in bottles and all that, but beyond that also, if they have some innovative idea, to support. So we have been mentored to organization which are developing rapid test kits, let's say, for milk testing. We are also working with organizations or startups which are developing protein beverages or some functional kind of foods. So now I think we are in a position where we can actually help you shape your dreams. So with this, I would like to begin the journey of today's masterclass. And first thing we discussed over here is most of the time I start my class with a few questions, and I think and throughout next around the structure would be that we'll be discussing for close to 2.5 hours or maybe something like that, and then we will have a question answer session where you can directly ask me any question, your queries related to today's program or otherwise also. But before that, these are the questions on which I would like that you should keep on thinking about these questions. You should keep on thinking about the answers to these questions throughout the workshop, and maybe at the end when we have question answer session, at that time maybe you can relate it to your dreams, you can relate it to your activities, and then get back to me. So there are 4 typical questions, which I want that you people should prepare yourself with. The first question is, why do you wish to enter into dairy processing? So why? That why is very important, because what is to be done in dairy, that's, it's very, very visible, and you can think about it. Yes, I want to set up a plant. I want to set up a plant with making milk or milkshakes or whatever you feel like, or butter or cheese. How it is to be done? So there are agencies like ours which can provide you solutions, which can give you all the support. But then the most important part over here is why at first place you want to enter into dairy processing. So those questions you have to think. So why earlier I used to answer to these questions in the beginning, but today I am holding it back, because I want that you should also keep on identifying and capturing cues from the presentation while answering the question. So in that particular case, maybe you may find some cue which may be supporting your this dairy processing journey or this dream. Second most important thing is that how you are going to be different. So how you are going to be different from the context of that you are entering into a market where milk, curd, all these kind of products are already available in most of the metros and tier 1, tier 2 cities. Then how you are going to make yourself different? In the sense, does your product offer better sameness, or does it jump to the next curves? And it is not only from the perspective of product per se or packaging per se, but then it may be the way you are delivering it. I'll be I'll be giving you more context to this particular thing where you can differentiate yourself. For example, if you see current situation, then you may find that people are actually getting their milk delivered through Swiggy and Zomato. It's nobody ever thought before. And there are new ways of delivery. There are new ways where consumer has got more control on what he wants, when he wants, how much he wants. So there are so many things. Even in packaging also, some concepts are going on, ATM, delivery at home, some mobile kind of systems. So it is not only the product part, the price points are also coming out very different. Even in a product like milk, if you are purchasing, let's say, a liter, also there are packages like 7-day package or 3-day pack or every other day package. So with product like milk, these kind of things are creating better sameness, or maybe they are jumping to the next curve. So you have to identify what do you want to do. Another important aspect which I would like, now bring your fear above the surface. So the purpose of this master class is that whatever is there, which is stopping you. So I know that there might be a list of n number of things, which you might be having in your mind, or probably whenever you discuss this project with someone, then those people might be putting in your head. So come out with those things, write it down. And I also request keep a pen and copy with you to note down, the salient points which you learn, though the presentation will be shared, but our discussion might be extended beyond presentation also. So look for 10 factors that could kill your launch. and how many you can eliminate, and together we can try to find answers. So write down your fears, those key questions, and what would you like to learn today. This is important thing. So rather I will twist the question and I'll say that, because most of the thing which you think that you would like to learn today will be covered. So over and above that, if there is something which you feel that you may need to probe more, so you can ask at the end and I can guide you and how to proceed further on that. So now what is happening? Let me tell you, let me give you an idea of the industry which you are trying to enter. So let me link it to what's happening today. So if I look today, then for the first time, in this unprecedented time, we have seen that value added products have become very important for consumption. So though there is, due to lockdowns, due to changed market position, there has been some kind of drop in some categories of value added products. But on the other hand, I'm not saying that, the way developments are happening on the other hand are actually setting off, this drop in demand. But still, there has been an upsurge in other categories of value added products during this lockdown. So how the whole market structure of demand of dairy product is. So now we have seen that there are three parts to demand in any kind of urban area or metros for dairy products. So the first part is with the households who are native of that place. The second, which is a significant one, is of the people who are, migratory population. So they may be working, they may be rural or urban masses, or we call them urban masses. And the third one is Horeca, hotel, restaurant, canteens, catering, those kind of businesses. Now, this COVID has given an opportunity to assess the demand, and very clearly cutting across the nation, it has become evident that this Horeca segment is close to 20% of the total demand of dairy products. So which is a very significant one. So 1/5 of the total demand, is of the Horeca segment. And then depending on what's the location is it metro or is it tier 2, tier 3 city, whether the migratory population originate from there, whether the migratory population is needed in that area, whether it's a big industrial town or very less industrial activity, depending on that, the demand for this migratory population may vary from anywhere from maybe 5 to 15%. So that way, if we see, almost 1/3 of the demand actually is controlled by Horeca and this migratory population. Now what happened that post-COVID, so Horeca got closed, so there was a sudden dip of 18 to 20%. So what started to happen, that there are certain products, value-added products, which are meant for Horeca. So in each category, there are some products which are meant for Horeca. For example, even in milk, you will find there is a 6-liter pouch which is meant for Horeca. Similarly, there are some specialized cheeses in bulk, say mozzarella and all that, which are being used in pizza, burger and all that. Again, they are specifically meant for Horeca. But on the other side, there were other dairy products also, which are highly segmented in the informal segment. For example, sweets, for example, khoa, for example, paneer. So in that particular case, when this lockdown occurred and when that informal sector got cut off, then what happens? Then the demand for paneer, demand for cheese within house, that started to increase. And that has reached to a significant level because everyone is talking about immunity boosters. Everyone is talking about, let's say, protein intake and those kind of things. So that way, what happened? The products which lost the bandwagon, they were the one, which are meant for this season. So our lockdown primarily has covered, let's say, from end of March, then April and May completely have been covered in that. And April and May are the peak month, I would rather say, including half of March, or rather March. So portion of March, because we were having the summer, got extended a little bit in the sense that it got delayed a little bit. So April and May are the peak for ice creams. April and May are the peak for curd. They are the peak for chas. They are the peak for lassi. unfortunately, most of these product categories, they they saw a big dip, because these products were available at very specialized outlets. For example, if somebody is putting up in Delhi, then only in Mother Dairy booth, it was possible to get ice cream. There were some kind of channels, which were trying to fulfill the niche, but there was a perception also that during COVID we must avoid, let's say, anything cold. So beverages, the flavored milk segment, until unless the company started to launch product like haldi milk or ginger milk or tulsi milk. So before that, these beverages, curd, lassi, again, people in the beginning, they were avoiding it. Rather, there was an increase in demand for milk at home. So what people started to do, they started to take more milk, and then they were making curd at home. So that way, from the market perspective, the milk demand, which was getting reduced due to some other sources or segments closing up, actually got compensated with some upsurge in demand at the domestic level. But the products like cheese, butter, paneer, there was a huge increase, particularly in paneer. There was a huge increase, and maybe to the tune of 60-70% of the demand, because the second most important thing was that this problem of COVID has an animal origin. So in that particular case, people started to avoid, and I think this thing would continue for more time. They started to avoid any kind of consumption of meat and meat products. So when they shift from meat and meat products, then for protein, the second best thing comes in dairy, particularly for the people who eat non-vegetarian food. So that way, these segments they strengthen very well, and they become more popular amongst the masses. So now, as the shops are opening up slightly, we have seen some sweet shops opening from 18th onwards. So there has been an increase in consumption, let's say, of milk powder also, because then the informal sector is becoming somewhere active. But let me tell you very frankly, in times to come, this particular segment of informal segment or unorganized segment, I'll be giving you a brief on that also, that what is the dairy structure of the country. So initially I better thought I should share that what kind of products are moving up, what kind of products are less in demand. But now let's look at what is the overall dairy structure of the country. So if you look at our country, then on daily basis, we produce close to 50 crore liters of milk. And out of that, 50% got consumed at home or kept back at home, because that gives nutritional security to the farmers. And this majority of this milk, maybe 80-85% of this milk, comes from small and marginal farmers. So let us say they are close to around 7.5 crore of small and marginal farmers produce close to 80-85% of, let's say, 50 crore liters of milk a day. So moving further, out of these 7.5 crore farmers, close to 1.5 crore farmers, 1.75 crore farmers are linked to the public cooperative. So when I say public cooperative, it means state dairy federations, like the likes of Amul or Saras or Sanchi, or whichever state you belong to, Awen if you are in South. So Verka or Milk Fed for that matter. So 1.75 crore farmers are linked to them. Almost 1.25 crore farmers are linked to the private sector. Then balance are actually controlled by the unorganized sector. So that way, if we see out of this 50 crore liter, around 20-25 crore liters of milk comes to the market. Out of that, close to 9-10 crore liter milk only is consumed by the organized sector. And balance, and then within organized sector also, around 5 crore liter of milk being handled by cooperative, and close to 4 crore liters of milk is being handled by private sector. Private sector means whether it is in North, Gopalji Ananda, or Paras in South, Hatson or Heritage, or Namaste India, or let's say Parag, Govardhan. So all these are actually, if you go to East, and maybe Cavenders over there. So all these are private sector. So you also, when you will be stepping in into this particular industry, you will also be representing the private sector. You will become part of that. So now those, if we look at the milk again, so 22, 24 crore liters of milk, out of that close to 5 crore being handled by government cooperative, 4 crore being handled by private sector. Still we have 10, 12 crore liters of milk, or 14 crore liters of milk being handled by unorganized sector. And now comes the most important part. This particular portion of milk is bound to get shifted to the formal sector. Reason that post-COVID, few of the behavioral changes which everyone is talking about, which may occur. So first of all, social distancing will continue further. It is not going to stop maybe on, it's not linked to, let's say, 31st of May or any further date, which comes up for the end of lockdown. It has to go more distance that way. People's attitude towards loose or unpacked products, or loose or unlabeled or unbranded products, that attitude is going to have a major change. So people will be, because they have become habitual of even getting their vegetables and fruits also in a packed format. They have become habitual of getting even their egg products, let's say, in a branded and a packed format. Same is true with milk. So the huge opportunities are there, because this particular part, this 2/3, if I look at the total dairy market, then only 1/3 is still formal. 2/3 of the surplus milk is still being handled by unorganized. That is where major opportunities is there for people like you, and you have to look forward to it. Second most important, so this is the structure, and second most, and out of this, let me take it slightly further. Out of this, around 70% of milk is being sold as milk. So if suppose cooperatives are handling 5 crore liters of milk per day, and probably those people are selling close to 3.75 crore liters of liquid milk only per day in pouch format. Same is true with private sector. And in balance 30% we get the value added products. But time is changing, and this we foresee that by 23, 24, 25, we foresee that this 70% will come down to 60%, and value added products will get an extension, and they will be making use of this 10% kind of cushion which we are seeing because of shift of, let's say, liquid milk, because our consumption pattern will change with the kind of generation or population or market consumers, which are evolving. Because we have got 65% of our population with less than 35% of age. So if we look at it from that perspective, so there is a huge kind of change which would occur. Now, so these companies, if you look over here, so large companies are signing global pact, with R&D agencies, new product development agencies, to develop products for, let's say, local production, for local markets. Local, I mean to say Indian markets. So be it Govardhan or Heritage or Prabhat. So Govardhan means Parag. And so these people are tying up with the European and Thai firms, for technical knowledge and expertise, particularly in the area of functional foods, or in the area of, let's say, healthy foods in terms of protein based production, those kind of things. Even they are going further to check out for colostrum, which is an important and value added products, and some specialized powders and ghee with infusions, so that is where the typical technology with oil and other things comes up. One thing which everyone, whenever they go for new product development, even before I start sharing you some example, one thing which everyone is using everyone is using, let us say, three-step approach. Three-step approach means whenever a dairy product or any food product or innovative food product is being produced. So in that particular case, there are three consideration or three pillars under which this product gets produced. So the first one is health and nutrition. So the first aspect is most of the time food product serves the purpose of providing health and nutrition to the consumers. So in that particular case, the benefits of the natural element in your food, they are being leveraged. So that way, if I talk of dairy, then everything related to dairy proteins or unsaturated dairy fats or omega-3, let's say in cow milk fat kind of thing, those things will get leveraged because you have to develop something from the health and nutrition perspective. But simultaneously, there is an element of indulgence also. So when I say indulgence in that particular case, the thing is that there is, one thing we always say, taste is non-negotiable. Health is okay, but we are not going to go for healthy foods most of the time, or maybe once in a while, like medicine, everything is good. But on regular basis, we will not be shifting to a healthy product if it doesn't taste good. And there is no definition of taste. Reason being, taste is culture specific. So that is why, the moment you shift one country to other, or maybe one state to other, or maybe one district to other, you will find the same products might be served to you with a different taste line. So that taste may be originating out of maybe smell, maybe body and texture. So depending on, it's highly perceptual. So whatever you have to develop, you cannot do it without thinking of that indulgence part. So you look at it from that perspective. The third most important pillar in this particular case, which should not be ignored at any stage, is convenience. So now what is happening, what's this social distancing could bring in, though most of these things are happening right now. For example, the sale of beverages is going up, the sale of yogurt as a snack. So dairy snacks like Epigamia has come out with, let's say, their Greek yogurt, which is doing well, and simultaneously now they have launched smoothies also. So these are the products which are on the go products. So they are convenience oriented. So right in the second slide, when I was asking about better sameness or crossing over to the next curve, so those things will arise from here. And I'm not saying all of you should start developing or innovating. No, I'm not saying so. But I'm telling you that the consumer right now, out of some kind of social distance is a necessary evil now. You won't be getting enough of time to sit in a restaurant or to have the time like you were earlier having. Not because anybody will stop you, but I am saying that this thing has been embedded in you. The moment you will start feeling this particular thing, most of you might not have moved out of your home since the lockdown is there. I have started to move out, let's say from 4th, I've been going to my office. But most of the time, even if I'm going to purchase something, fruits, vegetables, dairy, anything for that matter, the moment, I see a couple of, some group of people coming in that particular shop or in that particular area, this general kind of, though everyone is using a mask, I'm using a mask, but still there is a general tendency that I will move out from that space. So that social distancing and that, time to spend at a particular place, to enjoy a particular food or consume a food, I think that time is over. So what is going to happen in future? People will be picking it up or getting it from some big basket, milk basket, daily ninja, whatever, and then they will be carrying it with them and consuming. So that on the go kind of a thing, or convenience in terms of, let's say, app based kind of distribution or ordering, and having more control that way. Probably those are the upcoming things. So now you have to weave all these things together. So you have to deliver, if I have to say, you have to deliver nutrition and health to your target consumer by taking care of their taste requirements in a convenient manner. So your storyline, your picture, your thought process, so you have to create a construct like this at the back of your mind to move forward. Now let us see how few companies have done. The most important thing to be seen over here is, the target segment, because if I have to define any business, then any business can be defined at three pillar level. So if I define a business, I'll say what business you are in. So I am into the business of satisfying X need of Y consumer using Z technology. So at your end, you have to define X, Y, Z that way. So if suppose the most important thing is which target consumer you are talking about. So you have to come out of this demography part. Demography is maybe used later on, maybe from the perspective of sizing the population. But prior to that, what is important for you is to define this particular, let us say, target segment in terms of that what does that particular segment require, how does that particular segment look at themselves. So for example, one of the categories, let's say well-being dairy, light products, people requiring light products, people requiring functional food. So these are the categories. Products for allergy sufferer, which is very, very specific to a segment. Organic or bio. In India also you will find that organic and bio thing will be doing well in times to come. Definitely at the regulatory, when I'll be touching upon the regulatory part, then I'll be sharing that probably certification is still a challenge. Well-being dairy, I think post-COVID is going to be the most important thing. And for well-being dairy, you can bring in all kind of aspects which Ayush is mentioning, let's say in Indian context, on immunity boosters and all that, or on the protein consumption. So those kind of things can be thought of right now. You may experiment with variety. So now during this time, everyone during the lockdown, I'm not talking of those, and I always feel sorry for them. I always feel empathy for the people who are on roads. But the way, WhatsApps are being shared, it means everyone back at their home have become a chef or a super chef. And they are experimenting a lot with the regular products or commoditized products. So why it cannot be done, let us say, with the products being served by the industry? Now, France claims to have 5,000 types of cheeses. But when we come to India, I think since ages we have got one kind of butter. Since ages we have got one kind of paneer. Since ages we have got one kind of ghee, one kind of dahi, maybe one kind of lassi, one kind of rasgulla. So you can experiment. Customer is ready. As I have mentioned to you, indulgence is a key. I saw a chef who experimented with rasgulla, and rasgulla being served with spicy water. So that way, why do limit, let's say, rasgulla? Because the body and texture tells one story, sweetness adds to that story, but spices could also equally well adds to that story. So if you have a pani puri kind of a concept, you can have that pani and that chana ball also with same spiciness. And again, I'm not being suggestive over here. I'm just saying that people who are experimenting, definitely there would be a huge population to laugh at them. But whenever you have to work with limited budget, whenever you have to look with a focused kind of a thing, because either you will be serving masses or you will serving classes. So when you will be serving classes, in that particular case, better to serve the class under some niche segment. So that way, what you can do, you can always look for opportunities for those niche segments and then come out with your product. You can also look for, this is what we normally see, because as I told you, and please write it somewhere, taste is non-negotiable, and that taste also at a local level, a local culture level. Now whenever we go for paratha, at that time, the only thing in North India which comes to our mind is having makhan. So people who are from Delhi NCR, they can see butter or makhan being served with paratha, let's say on all these murthal dhabas, and wherever this dhaba culture is expanding across the nation. We also try achar with that. So now you have a paratha, now you have some butter being put up over there, and then you are putting achar also. Actually, when you are eating it with the paratha at that time, you are having a concoction of, let's say, some oil layer uh, on top of your paratha with some kind of typical achar flavor. So that is also gives a thought, why not to have flavored butter, achari flavored butter or something like that. So these are just thoughts. You can have this perspective also. Otherwise, normally when people contact me, they are only talking about uh, milk dahi paneer, milk dahi paneer. I'm not against that, but for that you will have to have some scale. So it is not that you think that, okay, by setting up something like 1000 2000 liter milk paneer dahi will be able to survive. Probably yes, if the city town is comparatively small. But if you are coming in a large market, in that particular case, your retail chain will be requiring scale. And whether you will be able to meet that scale or not, I really do not know. For that, all kind of pre-feasibility are required, and definitely we work in that space. So we will be helping you when we will be drafting your pre-feasibility. So post this program, you will be getting a mail from us. Then on certain specific areas, specific capacities, you can get a pre-feasibility report made. On that, we will be sending you a checklist and some formats to collect some information, because we always develop all kind of pre-feasibility report on real-time numbers. So it's not that we assume the number. No, number come from you. We simply process it and then make something worthwhile for you. You can experiment with varieties, as I mentioned. Maybe somebody also will have to look for going beyond, let's say, nutrition, health. So people are making use of milk as a base from beauty perspective, some kind of therapeutical or nutraceutical way also these are being thought of. Dairy based alcoholic drinks. So now some companies have come out with kefir, let's say in India. So now kefir and kumis are the kind of products which comes from, let's say, Central Asia, from Russia side, which have got some alcohol content. Whey based alcohol drinks are also there. We'll have to look for technology in that. But yes, there are possibilities. So it all depends, what kind of knack you have to handle new set of consumer with new set of technology. That is what you have to look at. Let's say sound sleep at night is one of the functionality. So a UK based company, Slumber Milk, so they launched a milk and they milked the animals while the animals were sleeping. So the typical sleep inducing hormone was present in the milk at that time. So they pack that milk and they sell it. And their target segment was, let's say, ladies under menopause or people having problem of amnesia and all that, so that, they can get a good sleep. It is just a thought process where you have to work hard. And one more thing, never, I would never suggest, that if you have an innovative idea, then you immediately set up at a large scale. No, nothing of that sort. You limit that particular thing to a niche, create a minimum viable product, as this has become a buzzword now by the, let's say, founder of yourstory.com, Shraddha Sharma. So minimum viable product everyone is talking about. So minimum viable product with a set of consumer who are ready to purchase, let's say, your product, and repeat purchase of your product. And then out of that, once you have tested it on a niche, then you go for a minimum viable business. So before my minimum viable business, you can experiment it. And at our startup center, we can give you that facility, that if you want to experiment something, we can develop that product in small quantities for you. and for 5-6 months you can experiment it at your own level and then establish your so it's a kind of that we help you incubate yourself, and in that particular case in a frugal budget itself you can have your own company, you can have everything experimented out, and then you can think of we can help you because all the time we will be sitting next to you mentoring you on that particular aspect. So and we have created some co-working space also where which can be used by you, so we can create that kind of thing where you can address this issue of whether this product will click or not, because it's not that the thought is there in your mind and you come with that to the market. And I'm not saying that any of the things which we are discussing uh, are are not possible, uh, to be developed or to become successful. No, I'm not saying so, but we have to look at numbers also. Out of, let's say, 100 products being launched, almost 80% of them cannot see the next year, and maybe for whatever is left, 80% of them might not see the third year. So there has to be some reason. It means somewhere those products, and even by good company, so maybe the product has not been carved out very well, or let us say, and most of the time what I personally feel that the reason of one of the major reason of failure is that it is not matching the consumer expectation. Because at the end of the day, what you are going to who is the king? The consumer is the king or queen or whatever you may call them as. So you can experiment and then you can take it to the next level, where then you can scale it up. And in our concept validation, we also check it out whether technically, so there is a technical scalability and there's a financial scalability in terms of, let's say, market size and all that. So we do both the things in concept validation. So even with one of the most weird idea one could have, we can still test it, we can still create opportunity metrics around that, and we can find it out whether it will work or not. But for doing so, you will have to experiment it on some minimum size of consumers, so as to build your business well. So now let's talk about the operational side of this business. So we'll be touching upon these 7 important areas. When we look at dairy, so dairy is a single raw material industry. So that is maybe one of the plus point as well as one of the negative point, that it's a single raw material and you cannot make a good quality product from a bad quality milk. So even when you are, initially when we were discussing about that, can you think somewhere you can break the sameness? Yes, you can break the sameness in terms of collecting milk. So while you are collecting milk, you can be innovative in terms of you can develop some kind of milk. You can put condition on farmer, you can give incentive to them. So you can create a system of procuring, let us say, high graded milk or high quality milk. So that is so those questions need not to be thought of from, let's say, product perspective only. You can think it of from operational perspective also. The second most important thing is product mix. So how to understand market, what kind of data to be covered in that. So though we help startups, doing those pre-feasibilities on their own also, if needed, we have our own team which can conduct those surveys. But prior to that, I will try to give you some kind of rule of thumb, so that at least right at initial level, you must be able to size the market. Because at the end of the day, it is not that you want to come in dairy, and dairy, the narrative goes like this, that in COVID we have seen that dairy is an essential service and this business has not suffered, it has not been impacted, other businesses have been impacted, so let us go do something in dairy and food. So that statement on its own is not complete or sufficient. It is not sufficient for you actually to go and invest in it. you have to probe. You have to simply see market. What are the gaps? Definitely, as I am saying, that 2/3 of the unorganized segment is strongly there, which will get converted. But it is not that on 31st of May lockdown is getting over and 1st of June, this market will be converted. No, it will take its own time, because we will have to build infrastructure, and then we will have to see, the kind of situations which may emerge later on, because it is not only the organized sector milk which got sold, but a couple of dairy wallas on these milk vendors on Mobike and those kind of things also I'm watching, wearing mask and using sanitizer. On WhatsApp somebody was showing where he's using a pipe and funnel. I don't know, people call it as innovation. It's okay, it's fine, it's perfectly fine, but for how long such kind of the fancies which has been created around this unorganized sector will continue. So the point to be taken over here is assess the market and then try to see what kind of combination will work over here, what kind of approximate demands are there. So, and in that, how much already is being met. So what is the space in which you may you have to enter, and then out of that space have some kind of percentage envisaged for you. Then we'll be a little bit talking about the infrastructure, statutory and government support. Right now, indeed, I will be focusing more on the recent announcement, Government of India in Atmanirbhar and Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Fund. Though not much of details are there, but I'll share some kind of schemes which are there, which may be of some help to you. I'll be also talking about what kind of infrastructure, layouting kind of thing being done. Then we'll be talking on technology, which is an important part, that what kind of technology should you look at, and for making different kind of products, and which are the common point, what is that minima which you have to set, the basic the foundation level of processing on which you can then a plug-in kind of a thing. Then you can have, let's say, milk processing, you can plug in, let's say, curd line, and then say paneer or cheese line, say some kind of butter and ghee line or flavored milk line on that. So I'll be just giving you I'll try to create a mental structure for you where you can actually see that, okay, that because dairy technology is highly modular, so it can be expanded. It's a plug and play kind of a thing. It's like you can join the pieces together like Lego toys. That kind of concept is there. So I'll just create that kind of background for your thought process, and then you can keep on choosing which kind of product to go or not to go. Quality assurance, what is being required from the food safety perspective, what all needs to be tested, what kind of facilities are there. So I'll just give you a brief on that. And then the typical manpower requirement, the kind of manpower requirement and the kind of sources we can have for that. And lastly, I'll be touching upon brief on a costing and realization and profitability, because this is the most variable part, because it will vary from place to place, from location to location, depending on the from source to source in terms of milk and all that. So this is these 7 steps now we will be covering in next around 90 minutes, and then for 30 minutes we'll be keeping for let us say question answer with you people. Let us take a 3-minute break over here, and you can also stretch, have some water, and then let's join back in 3 minutes. Okay, any question by anyone up to this stage? We shall be covering it later, but if anybody has got any question at this stage, you can ask me. Okay, shall we start? Is everyone back? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sona. So let's start with the raw milk procurement. And before that, let us try to understand what is milk. So milk has a legal definition, and if we look at the definition which was being given earlier by PFA, that is Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, which is actually the precursor to FSSAI or Food Safety Standards Authority of India. So it came in, I think ours is a one of the recent food safety authority in the world. So earlier we used to have multitudes of acts and the kind of bodies which were governing the food regulatory. But then it was in 2006 that this act came, and I think from 2011 this got enacted. So as per the definition, milk is a normal mammary secretion derived from the complete milking of healthy milch animal without either addition thereto or extraction therefrom. It shall be free from colostrum. It shall conform to both the parameters for milk fat and milk solids not fat, independently as prescribed in PFA rules for various regions. Milk shall include cows or buffaloes or sheep or goats or a mixture thereof. So it means, in other words, it simply says that when we are talking of cow, buffalo, sheep, or goat, or a mixture thereof, when I'm considering these animals, so milk of these animals which are healthy and in which nothing has been added and nothing has been taken out. And this is also not the milk which has been taken at the time of cowing when colostrum is there. So the milk should be free from colostrum, and then nothing should be added like water and other things should not be added. Nothing should be extracted. For example, you should not extract cream or something like that. So if you have to sell this particular milk in pure form, like by saying cow milk or buffalo milk, then you cannot do such kind of activity. But then there are prepared categories also, which I'll be telling you during the technology part, where you can have toned milk or double toned milk. So that way, once you are having those categories, then you can add also something. You can add powder, you can add ghee. Now why, or butter, why to add powder or butter oil, which is almost like ghee, while making milk? You'll be understanding into the next slide. So these are the constituent. This is for cow and buffalo milk. In cow milk, comparatively fat is low. In buffalo milk, fat is high. So in general, when we look at cow milk, then the range, so there are two kind of range. One is with the, let's say, HF or exotic cow, where the fat range may be 3.5 to 4%, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5% to 4%. While in case of desi cow, which are our indigenous Gir, Sahiwal, or even in exotic, the Jersey, we find the fat range is beyond, let's say, 4, it's 4.3, 4.5, 4.8, 5, up to 5% also we can get. In case of buffalo milk, we have got around 6% fat, 6%, 7%, 8%. In Haryana and all that, those people get even up to 10%. So that way, the major difference between cow milk and buffalo milk lies with the, let us say, the fat percentage. Secondly, in India, the milk pricing is based on fat. So therefore, people tend to keep buffalo from the perspective of that after eating almost on similar lines that of cow, the buffalo milk fetches better rates. So that is the reason, in farming, at small and marginal level, buffalo milk is more being considered. And as I mentioned to you, particularly in North India or in some parts of West or South India also. So from taste perspective also, buffalo milk tastes better, in the sense it's perceptual. So people, consumer are more habitual and they find it more rich because it is higher in fat. And secondly, it is more whiter. So in case of cow milk, it's on the yellowish side. And then even the products being made are on the yellowish side, be it paneer, be it khoa, be it curd. The third important thing is, so let's say buffalo ghee, that is, which is white, light greenish kind of tinge which comes out. So that has got its own kind of liking. Then cow milk and cow ghee. Now cow milk has become predominantly more popular of late, in last I would rather say 5-6 years, since this new government has come. And there has been a lot of promotion and lot of emphasis on the local breeds and all that. So cow milk and desi cow and A2, those kind of things which are coming. So A2 normally is a category which is with all the milk being produced by local animals. So all the local cows in India gives A2 milk, all buffaloes gives A2 milk, all goat gives A2 milk, all sheeps give A2 milk. It is only some part of the HF or Holstein Friesian and some part of Jersey which gives A1 milk. So we need not to go into that A1 or A2, because there is no firm evidence that this is better or that is inferior. But the thing is that we have to respect the perception in the market. So even if we have got buffalo milk, we can write A2 on that. So there is no problem. And as such, if we see that large majority of the milk being produced in India is A2 nature, but still, there are people who then start talking about A2 with desi cow and those kind of things. So that is a marketing gimmick and probably will come later when you will be planning your business. Now, let's understand milk itself. Before understanding what could be made out of milk, let us try to understand that what milk constitute of. So in that particular case, if I look at the milk, then basically milk has got, this is a normal composition for buffalo milk. So 6% fat, 3.5% protein, 4.5% lactose, 1% minerals, and around 85% water. So this is a general composition. And now try to understand that how all these products are made and what is the composition of each one of. So which composition is actually contributing to which kind of dairy products. Let's try to understand. So step one, what we do. So suppose I take this fat out, and in that particular case, I can take it out in the form of let us say cream, and then convert that cream into ghee, or malai into butter into ghee. So whatever is the fat percentage in milk actually is ghee. So I have taken that out. So what I am left with, after I have taken the fat out, then I am left with protein plus lactose plus minerals plus water. So what this composition is known as, this is called as skimmed milk. So actually, if I take ghee out of milk, then I am left with skimmed milk. And in this skimmed milk, now the skimmed milk which I am left with, if suppose I remove water also, in that case, what I am left with protein, lactose, and minerals. Now, what are these protein, lactose, and minerals combination? So these are nothing but skimmed milk powder, because I have taken water out of skimmed milk. So what it gets converted into? It gets converted into skim milk powder. So this skim milk powder, or SMP, is also, if I look at it more deeply, then protein, lactose, minerals are also solids which are there in milk, but these are those solids which are not fat. So we call them as SNF. So milk basically constitutes of three elements: fat, solids not fat, and water. So fat, we know it is ghee. Solids not fat, we know it is skim milk powder. And water, we know very well. So now the question is, milk can be, so what is happening right now if you look at current situation? So under current situation, all the excess milk is getting converted into powder and ghee. So whatever excess milk is there, because there is a 20% shortage of demand, and states particularly in South India, they have got their flush means more milk is being produced over there in this particular season, and maybe next 2-3 months they will be reaching their peak also somewhere. So if in these times when the demand is low and you cannot say no to farmer, in that particular case you will purchase and convert it into skim milk powder and ghee. Now lately when, or butter, so lately when, when lockdown opens up and then there is a shortage of milk, at that time the same powder and butter will be mixed with water and then will be served as milk to you. So yes, you can fractionate excess milk into powder and butter, store it for any period, maybe 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, there is no problem. Yes, there is a cost, there is a working capital, but as said, the product doesn't have any problem. And after that, after a year or so, what you can do, you can immediately reconstitute it or recombine it back. Now, how milk is procured? Basically, as I told you, milk is a single raw material, and in that particular case, one more thing I told you, that we cannot make good quality products with bad quality milk. Now with milk, what happens the moment it is being produced? So in most of the cases when milk is produced, then there is hardly any difference between the milk being produced at an Indian farm with Indian cows, as long as the cow is healthy, in even worst of the environment, versus the best farm, again a healthy cow in any other environment in the world, Denmark, US, anywhere. When the milk is produced, all milk are same. But then what happens that the moment it comes into kind of a small and marginal farmer environment in Indian conditions. So first of all, it's a tropical condition. The space is not that clean. The person who is milking is not maintaining hygiene. The animal is not being kept in very good conditions. So now this milk starts to get interacted with the environment, and that environment is unhygiene. So in that unhygienic environment, what happens that this milk starts to get its microbial load increased. So that microbial load every 20 minutes it doubles, and then it starts to catch up with a sort of exponential growth. So in that particular case, the only solution is that chill this milk as early as possible. So our tendency should be to chill the milk which is being produced as early as possible, as instantly as possible. Then what will happen, the moment this particular milk is chilled, that microbial increase or microbial growth will get arrested. Otherwise, natural milk doesn't have a life more than 3 to 4 hours in the kind of condition in which it is being produced. So first condition is that from wherever we are collecting milk, we have to see that it must get chilled as early as possible within 3 to 4 hours of its production. So if suppose the rule of thumb is that if let's say 5 o'clock or 5:30 the milk production happens at a farmer place, then by all means you have to see that this milk either gets chilled or at least reach to the place where it can be instantly chilled by 8:30 p.m. to 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. So that 3.5 to 4 hours maximum kind of a thing to get the milk chilled is a kind of system which you'll have to create, because for you the quality of milk is at best when it reaches your reception dock, and post that you can only maintain that quality, you cannot improve it. So you have to keep in your mind that by the time it reaches to your dock, it should be as good, as fresh as it was at once it was being produced. So the most prominent way of collecting milk of high quality is by forming village level center committee or cooperative. So this is a farmer producer cooperative. So it's a group of farmers. So you go to villages, you do the potential survey. In India, on an average, you can collect 70 to 200 liters of milk per village cooperative society. So in that particular case, if we take an average of, let's say, 100 liters, then you can, if you want to set up a plant of, let's say, 10,000 liters, and sooner or later you will have to have your own captive 100 village level centers. Means you'll be touching upon 100 or 115, 120 villages, because at times, we have small and large village also. So maybe in that kind of thing, one center can take care of both the villages if they are in proximity. The second most important thing is that not only you have to identify these 100 villages, you have to also create a kind of a logistic designing, logistic mapping. So most of the time what happens that whenever you are going for, let's say, 100 villages, then on one route at the most you can cover, because there is a condition that within 3.5 hours of production you have to make it reach either to a chilling point or to the processing plant, whichever is nearer. So if suppose your procurement area is around your plant only, and maybe you can maybe 30, 40, 50 kilometers is the catchment from where you are getting the milk. So maybe you can set up chilling center at your plant itself. Reason being, why to have different, why to decentralize, let's say, the whole team in terms of quality or processing. So have a centralized team at the plant itself. So the milk will come to you, or you can also station some kind of bulk milk cooler. So we help in designing that part, because that's a practical thing. We'll have to see that what kind of catchment area you are going in for, because catchment area depends on the milk potential, the type of milk, already existing competition, the prices, and the overall profile of milk in that area in terms of adulteration or in terms of contaminants. So based on that particular thing, we decide and we set up a village level center. And in village level center, we put up we put up an AMCU, automatic milk collection unit. Then we put up one weighing system. It's an automated kind of a thing. So you can any day you can consider a budget of anywhere between 75,000, 80,000 to 1 lakh rupee, so that at village level center you have a complete setup. You will be having a person who will be purchasing milk on your behalf. You'll be paying him some commission or salary come commission. All those modalities occur depending on from location to location, but in general you can consider him to be a cost center of close to 4%. So if suppose the milk price is 30 rupees, then you can consider 1 rupee 20 paisa per liter will be taken up by that fellow. But his job is for 3 hours morning, 3 hours evening. Over and above that, there are some private players available who may be called as B-class suppliers or milk contractors, large contractors, maybe handling lakhs of liters of milk. You can purchase milk from them also. But then you will have to look at the kind of quality which those people are providing to you. Last but not the least, there is a new wave coming up. So in that, instead of going like you have seen brands like Country Delight and all that, so instead of depending on, let's say, small farmer, you can look at slightly larger farmers also, or maybe commercial dairy farmers also. So maybe Country Delight takes it from small but mid-sized farmers also. So anywhere, you can also look for farmers who have capability of, you can create a rider who can give you more than 100 liters of milk per day. Reason for this is, number one, your logistics become viable. Number two, you get good quality milk from a single source. So in that particular case, instead of having 10 farmers with 10 kind of practices, with 10 levels of hygiene, giving you 100 liters of milk, instead from one farm, through control, you can have better hygiene and a consistent quality of milk from one farm only. So that is, how you have to move ahead in that. Definitely you have to have some kind of clean milk production aspect, which has to be shared through training, development, awareness program for farmers. And you can also think of, let's say, if suppose you are going for commercial dairy farms with more than 100, 200 liters of milk. So in that particular, so all of you who are thinking of, let's say, supplying milk in glass bottles and all that could look for this model. So they can look for those farmers having good large quantity of milk, and you can open dialogue with them today, because all the farmers, be it of any scale, and if suppose they are not regularly selling to Amul, so they are in distress. So that way, try to talk to them today, try to look at the possibilities. So if suppose he has got even 100 liters of milk, you can set up a small 100-liter bulk milk cooler over there. So because when you are selling it in glass bottle, you are competing with people who are selling farm fresh milk in the name of farm fresh milk. So from that context, the most important thing is that when you purchase milk from these large dairy farms, mid-sized dairy farms, not large exactly, in that particular case, by putting bulk milk cooler over there, you are creating a kind of quality for your milk, which is equivalent to fresh farm milk. Because the only difference, you can give awareness, you can run awareness program for hygiene and clean milk production at those small farms, 10, 12, 20, whatever it is. And simultaneously, you can also set up your own small bulk milk cooler at a station, so that the milk is getting chilled instantly. The moment it is being produced, it is getting chilled. So then you can charge high premium. Definitely, that awareness program needs to be structured well, and we help you in that also. So there are different kind of farm equipments or tanks. So they may start from 100 liters onwards, and then it may go as high as 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 liters also. Now let's come to another important area, that is marketing. So I think marketing is everything. You have to, so we always say, don't try to sell what you make. Try to make what sells. It means your whole journey should start from market. Because even today, a few of you might have thought of entering into this field by thinking more like a consumer than like an industrialist. So it is more of your consumer who is very much convinced that during this COVID or during this pandemic or during this unprecedented time, the only thing which is prevailing and which is very high in demand and without which nothing could happen is milk and food products. So that is why first, you got convinced as a consumer, because you found it to be your number one pain point in the morning, the availability of milk. It is your consumer first who has pushed you to think about dairy to your entrepreneur mind. So it's a dialogue from consumer to entrepreneur. Nowhere I am demeaning anyone's capability to look straight and think like entrepreneur. No, I'm not saying so. I'm simply saying that it is your consumer who is 100% convinced. So the journey starts from the consumption point, from the market. Now, what is to be seen over there? So first of all, let us see what kind of investments can be done. So market has got both kind of, I would rather say, customers. So you have retail customer also, what we call it as B2C, and you have got B2B customer also, institutional. Institutional customers are normally there for, let us say, commodities, skim milk powder, whole milk powder, casein, lactose, ghee, as I mentioned at the end, the last line. Other opportunities which lies in the dairy sector starts with milk production. That is, you are setting up your own farm, which you can always do. Then going for milk procurement. So in that particular case, you can also set up a chilling center, as I was mentioning to you in the last module, the last part of the presentation of the last chapter. So in that particular case, You can act as a chilling center. So you create a system of procuring milk from the farmers on one end, and then chilling it, and then selling it to the B2B or to the dairy plants in the nearby areas. Nowadays, new systems are also emerging where companies are coming up. For example, Milk Lane in South has uh, done it. Then Stallops, another high-tech company, they are into milk procurement technologies kind of applications. So that company is planning to come in different parts of the country with their uh, services as a for collecting milk and selling it to the value-added milk processors. So you can think of that also as an opportunity also. And then fresh milk processing. So now dairy plants are of three types. So the first one is liquid milk, in which you sell liquid milk only with some butter and ghee. So one thing I would like to make very clear over here, butter and ghee, we don't consider it to be dairy products. Butter and ghee are dairy byproducts. So the first part is liquid milk processing, where you are processing milk like selling toned milk or double toned or full cream, whatever, and then with some quantity of butter and ghee. The second category is what we call it as composite dairy. So composite dairy means that we are doing liquid milk, but with that we are doing some curd also, some buttermilk also, some lassi also, some paneer also, of course with butter and ghee. Then there is a third category which is called as product factory. So in that we miss out on liquid milk in any format. So liquid milk is available in different format. I'll be sharing you in technology. You will understand there better. But we are not selling liquid milk in any format. In product factory, we are manufacturing product only. So be it only cheese with butter and ghee, or flavored milk, or combination of products also we can do. So yogurt or Greek yogurt, yes, you can independently set unit for these products also. And then lastly, commodities, any commodities like SMP, WMP, casein, lactose, ghee, as I mentioned to you. So you have to see that in which category would you like to come. Liquid milk alone with butter and ghee works well if you are in fresh farm category. So if you are into either fresh farm category, or you are into a kind of where you have created a collection system of very high grade milk, in that particular case, yes, you can think of let us say coming for only liquid milk. You can sell it in bottles and you will get enough of premium for that, and then you can make some money with by selling ghee also. Lately you can add some products in that. So you'll start with liquid milk, but then you will keep on moving for the composites. So maybe in that category also, later also again I'll be mentioning it at some other place, that maximum up to say 4,000-5,000 liters of milk you can manage it in this liquid milk. But if you are going beyond, if you are scaling it further, in that particular case you will have to add on products. Reason being, whether you are selling it through retail segment, that is general trade, or modern trade. First of all, modern trade won't be good for you at lower volumes. And thirdly, even if you are going for direct to home delivery, you will have to fulfill the requirement of your end consumer as well as customer. So why? Because they will be requiring the complete bouquet of products. They just won't be looking at that, okay, someone is giving me milk only. No. So you will have to go beyond it. So for that, what is the most common structure today? Most common is liquid milk with products. So you can take it from 5,000 liter per day onwards to any capacity. So, and then thirdly is product specific. So product specific are meant for those people who are looking at niche, who are looking at, so maybe ice cream also is a very good opportunity right now in dairy. So that is a niche. So that's a product factory. I mean, ice cream factory is not supplying any milk or curd to anyone. Or you can also look for cheese factory alone. So cheese factory in retail, or maybe some kind of, you can have a service oriented kind of a thing also, like you can create some kind of let's say cheese stations, the small franchisee, or small, let's say what we call it as counters in different malls for assortment of cheeses. So So these are just the ideas, you can look from that perspective. So this is where, you can invest in a kind of a dairy setup. You can also think of, let's say, milkshakes. So in Caventer's format also you can do. So we helped Caventer's while they were developing their formulation. So for their first outlet as well as for their first set of flavors. So we were involved right from the beginning, when these people were starting and planning in a way, how to go further, and later on, for franchising, because they wanted to convert into a the restaurant format, the QSR format. So in that particular case, probably then uh, their their target, their focus changed. So it was more on the franchising and QSR. But the dairy part initially, for all the flavors and all that, that was being done by us. So now, how to estimate demand? So for that, I will just give you an example. So you can think of your location, and you simply write, approximate population of the location where you want to focus. So suppose you are from Delhi NCR, so write down the population of Delhi NCR. If you are from Bombay, you write down the population of Bombay. Whichever place you belong to, you write your the number of people who are actually the, as I mentioned to you earlier, that total household population, what is that urban population in your area? So because for city we have to check for urban population. Now these are the numbers which are per capita consumption, which we have seen across the nation. So it's on the basis of we segregated different states in different regions of the country. And then what we did, that we worked on that, and based on the population, we came out some consumption patterns. So the per capita demand levels in north are highest, 250 to 400. In east, it is the lowest, 100 to 150. West and south are more or less into 200 to 350 ml range. Now, one thing to be seen, all those areas, all those cities where major demand for protein comes from fish, like coastal areas and all that, or northeast, or from non-vegetarian product. So you will find that milk product demand will be lower there. But after COVID, even in those areas, milk product demand will increase. So there has been a very huge upsurge in the UHT milk demand in Northeast. So though UHT was getting sold over there pretty high, but post-COVID, the demand for UHT upsurged like anything. Plain milk I'm talking about. Reason being that people, though milk was not part of their major diet, but meat and other products, people started to move away from meat and other products, and then they opted for products like milk, curd, and all that. So now these are the kind of approximate kind of figure which you can consider. And then let us say that if you have to look at the milk demand, if you are from tier 2, tier 3 city, then the rule is very simple, that whatever the population is, divided by 5 or multiplied with 0.2. That is the 200 ml demand factor. But if suppose you are talking of Delhi NCR, in north in particular, with higher per capita income also, in that particular case, you may consider it to be as high as 350 or so. So considering at 350 ml or so for Delhi, and with a population of around 225 lakhs people, Delhi NCR, then we may find that total demand of milk is close to 1 crore liter. For other cities and towns also, at 200 ml, you can, on an average, I'm saying tier 2, tier 3, where maybe per capita income might be higher, but the lifestyle is not such. And secondly, it all depends on which part of the country you're talking about. So 200 ml, I've just averaged it out for most of the locations. So if the population of your city is, let's say, 2 lakh, I'm just considering a tier 2, tier 3 town, the 2 lakh population, then milk demand should be close to 40,000 liter in that area. And then from that, of 40,000, 10 to 15%, the demand is going to be for fermented milk products like curd and other things. So 40,000, so maybe 4 to 6,000 liter per day of curd, butter, milk, lassi kind of products can be sold over there. And then you take further, maybe 10 to 15% of that curd you can consider, maybe 400 to 600 kgs of paneer may be sold over there. Now, this may go slightly higher if there is more of North Indian kind of, let's say, if you look at the profile, population profile, demographic profile, if more of North Indians are there, in that particular case, we will be getting consumption slightly on the higher side. But if the same city town is there in some coastal areas or in some areas in northeast or something like that, probably it will slightly go down. But this is how you have to identify what is the demand level of different kind of dairy products in your area. This becomes your baseline. From here you start thinking that, okay, 2 lakh population, 40,000 liter of milk, 4 to 6,000 liter of curd, buttermilk, etc., 400 to 600 kg of paneer. Okay, what is getting sold right now? Let me check. Then you go to, practically nowadays it's a WhatsApp time. Simply go to the shop, purchase the product, and purchase in the sense that purchase the product, take the photograph and look from where the product is coming. So the manufacturer details are there. So you'll come to know how many people are there, talk to the dealer, try to understand what's the kind of total supplies are. So let's say against 40,000 liter, you come to know that there is a supply of close to 7 to 8,000 liter by the state federation, and maybe 4 to 5,000 liter by other small players. Then it means you are sure that, okay, 12 to 13,000, 15,000 liter of milk supplies are being done by them. But still there is a 25,000 liter demand, which is still intact. So that is how you have to first of all work on the basics before actually thinking of launching it. So once you are there with us in the mentorship, then we guide you also, and if need be, we can get some surveys conducted also. But these are important points. The more you involve yourself, the more you will learn. Now let's look at for the kind of infrastructure which you want to create. Now let us look at that. What is the requirement? So let's start with what kind of land, what kind of building is required. I'll be giving you some measurement for some levels of projects. But let's try to understand. Dairy comes under red category, and sooner or later it has to become, let us say, a zero discharge industry. So when I say a zero discharge industry, in that particular case, zero discharge industry, in that particular case, I am trying to say that you have to treat the discharge, and then you cannot put that discharge into any kind of natural riverlets or natural water bodies without getting permission or without the information of pollution control board, because they will be telling you the designated area where this thing has to be done. Or even I'm talking of treated water, or if you are in an industrial area, then there are norms that if you are disposing it off in sewage or in the drain water, in the water drain, the rainwater drains, then what is the standard which is to be met out. Or you have to create your in-house kind of arrangement for recycling of this water, evaporation of this water, or using this water for plantation purpose inside your premises. So depending on your scale, you have to size the land accordingly, and you have to have a kind of clarity on what is to be done with the treated water. So based on that, first option is that it is good if you can do it in an industrial area where community ETP is there, community effluent treatment plant is there. In that particular case, you are in least kind of trouble, or let's say your concerns will reduce down to a large extent. But if it is not possible, in that particular case, try to get as much of land as possible, which your budget, allows. And then the first thing which you have to do, even before deciding location, that uh, you share that location with the local pollution control board and check it out whether it is in red zone or not, number one. Number two, that you also get clearance from them that yes, in not from them practically, that yes, dairy plant can be set up over here. Later on, once you start doing building and other thing, then the first step would be going back to them again and getting a consent to establish letter from them, which will be on the basis of the effluent treatment project which you'll be submitting to them. So normal circumstances, if your product is more in the fresh category, so I'll give you a very simple kind of a statement and you can understand what dairy is all about. So we call it as a dil fake. It's a Hindi term though, but you consider it to be DILFAC, dil fake. So dairy has got three major categories. So one is dairy products, another one is ice creams, and third one is liquid dairy products. So when I say dairy products, so they are all dairy products which are not liquid. Then ice creams are there, and then when I say liquid, it means liquid dairy products which are all liquid. Could be milk, flavored milk, anything of that sort. And then fake is the way they are to be distributed or kept or in the warehouse and all that. So we call it as F frozen, A ambient, C chilled. So dil fake means that you have got three categories of product, type of products versus how they have to be handled, the logistics or otherwise. So either on the frozen or the ambients or the chilled. So most of the time commodities are ambient. So like powder and ghee, you don't require anything for them. Most of the time ice creams are, let us say, in frozen, or butter in certain cases, yes, frozen for long term if you have to store it. But let us say most of other products in fresh categories comes under chilled condition. So at 4 degrees centigrade. So, and these are the products which are to be sent to the market on daily basis, which are bought by the consumer almost on daily basis. So we buy, let's say, milk on daily basis, we buy curd every second, third day, we buy paneer every third, fourth day. So if we are thinking or planning for such kind of products where my market interaction, my market engagement is very high, my market, the delivery may be done once or maybe more than once also in the market, then it is always good to keep your plant near to the market. So and near to the market means, I don't want to talk about distance, but anything around 1.5 to 2 hours kind of thing is okay. So you can be there. On the other side, if you are going into commodities where liquid milk requirement are very high, and then where you are condensing milk, you are converting milk into, let's say, powder and ghee, it is good to keep your location near to the point of milk production, that is villages, because unnecessarily bringing that much, so many tankers of milk and then concentrating it to, so let's say 10 tankers of milk will get concentrated into one truck of powder and one truck of ghee, let's say, small truck of ghee. So why to do so? In that particular case, it is good that I collect milk over there, convert it, and simply bring 1.5 truck to the marketplace. Also have to look at from the location perspective. So if you are near to the town, then it is always good because quality of labor will be good, quality of staff will be good, approachability will be good, your cost will be comparatively lower. I'll tell you how in the last session on profitability. You have to look for potable water under IS 10500, and for each liter of milk you should consider availability of 2 liters of water, because this is how effluent treatment plants looks from that perspective. You should not be near to any factory, which is emanating any kind of smell or hazardous chemicals or fumes and all that. Reason being, milk has got fat in it and milk products have got fat. They have a very high tendency to capture such kind of smells or such kind of off flavors. So try to avoid such kind of vicinity where such kind of chemical hazards are there, because these chemical factory actually impacts the water table also. So which will again have an impact, because that contaminated water will be used at your end. So if that is not doing anything else, then at least there would be probabilities of some kind of, let's say, biofilms coming over here, or some other kind of hazards also coming into your kind of space over and above the contaminated water, which may make your milk high in, let's say, heavy metals or pesticidal residue or chemical residue or something like that. So be sure that you are doing it in a nice and neat place. So in general, the cost of dairy plant will depend on location, as that is one part, because the land cost and the kind of building you want to make. You want to go for RCC building, how huge would you like to have your staff also being kept over there. Then technology, what kind of technology you want to go for, local technology, indigenous technology, or imported one. Though for milk, most of the products, indigenous technology is very much in, very good technology is available. But still, I'm just sharing that how it could in the level of automation. What is the level of automation? Though automation is not very costly, but still it adds to your cost. And then what kind of final packaging? So is it a conventional packaging? The more unitary packaging you go in for, the more retail packaging you go in for, the more latest or contemporary packaging you go in for, your cost of your capital cost increases with that. And then last but not the least, are you going to distribute it in your own vehicles? Are you going to have your own procurement? Are you going to buy it from farms, or you from some chilling, some contractors having chilling center? That will also define your recurring cost aspect of it, as well as capital cost, because I mentioned to you, for 10,000 liter, 100 villages, each village, even if you, let's say, it's a ballpark figure, you consider 1 lakh, means 1 crore will go only for that particular purpose of procurement. So this is, these are the factors which you have to keep in your mind. So just don't go barely by the plant cost, because the kind of calls which I get, you simply ask, okay, forget about land, sir, building hum banwa lenge. You simply tell me what is the cost of plant. Cost of plant actually may not be a significant portion of most of the project cost. There are other elements also. So look in a holistic manner. These are the standard layouts, let's say, the kind of plants which can be done with some farm milk can be placed at farm also, or otherwise also at 1,000, 2,000 liter, it will be maybe 1,200 square feet or so. So you can have 3 kind of layouts. So one is the straight line. So you can start from here, and this is called as I. So this is a dock where you receive things. It will come, you store it, you pressurize it, you store it, you pack it, you cold store it, you take it out. So it's a straight line kind of a thing, one side entry, one side, another side, opposite side, a dispatch. Then you can have an L shape, you can have things entering over here, processing and all that, and then perpendicularly you can take it out, that is L shape. The third one is U shape, so you get the milk in, get it processed, and do all the packaging, storage, and then you take it out from here. Now all these things depends on, there is no hard and fast rule which flow to be used. It all depends what kind of products are there, your process flow, how does that get set up, and last but not the least, what kind of site limitations you have. So you may have a site where a particular kind of layout cannot be done. The way it has to be done, and we do it. So first we have got site layout. We do the contouring on contour plans based on suggestions from everyone, from your side, from your Vastu Shastri and all those people involved. Then we identify the places for different sections, and then we design the plant accordingly. So this is the option, but nowadays we have 3D options, and right from the beginning we understand that okay, what kind of setup is required from food safety, movement, storage, future expansion, everything. Now these are some of the figures, let's say, for area required for, let's say, liquid milk plants from 1,000 to 2,000. So total area minimum I am saying. So this is minimum subject to a condition that it's available and in industrial area where community Effluent treatment plant is also there, so you have to simply put your drainage, your effluent into the drainage available to you. So in 200 square meter area, the covered square, like the one layout I showed to you, for 2000 to 5000, it will be 300 square meter and 2000 square feet. Composite, once the product comes into picture, then the size becomes, uh, it goes from 3000 square feet to maybe 20,000 square feet, depending on a composite plant of 50,000. So these are just ballpark figure. Don't uh, consider them to be the final figure. There have been projects which have been done in lesser space also, but there have been projects which have used more space also. It all depends. In entrepreneurship, another important thing which you should consider is that you have to begin by keeping end in the mind. So what is your terminal point? What is that capacity which you are looking at, which you have to achieve over a period of time? So have a clear idea on that, and accordingly, because what happens, particularly in land, wherever you are purchasing it, the once you become successful and then there is a requirement for expansion, at that time everything around you becomes costlier in Indian context. So otherwise also, the moment the person next to you who has got a plot, or even he has a uh, an agricultural land also, but the moment he comes to know that you are interested and he knows that your things are working very well, so then it will be a different kind of cost. So just see everything, you weigh from that perspective, and definitely give maximum respect to the resources at hand. Definitely, if things are going on well, tomorrow we can purchase more also, and even at costlier rate also. That's not a problem. But my perspective is that have a clear picture, at least have slightly bigger picture. So don't do it just on the, because COVID has given you some kind of thought process. Give it a thought beyond COVID also, that what is going to happen in next 6-9 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. So that way you plan and accordingly size your dreams, and of course your belongings in terms of acquiring land and all those kind of things. Fine. So so we are almost 2 hours, at 2 hours, and before I start technology again, I would like let's take a 3 minutes break, because now our tangent will change. It will be more in different direction. We'll be talking of processes and technologies and all those kind of things, and then let us meet after 3 minutes. Any question up to here? Though we will be taking a question answer session later on. Anybody having some typical question or some particular? Yes, Sonal. Yes.
Yes, sir. I wanted to clarify regarding the pollution status. Actually, I belong to Mathura, and Mathura falls in TTZ area. You must be aware of that.
Yeah.
In TTZ area, only white category of industrial projects are allowed. So I was just wanted to clarify, in which category does it fall?
It comes under red category, and people from Agra and Mathura who wants to do dairy, they are shifting more towards Hathras. So in Hathras, they have developed some area where this kind of thing is happening.
So we won't be getting a permission for the milk processing plant in TTZ area, no?
So that you will have to check, but it comes under red category, and you will have to see. Agra, I'm pretty sure you won't be getting the permission. Mathura, you may try. I'm not commenting on that as on now.
It's in that category.
It's in that category.
Up to which process level?
Which process level? Because you will have to go for, you should always try for composite where all the products are there. So why you should limit yourself to milk only? Because sooner or later you will have to do paneer also, you will have to do curd also. So please don't take that chance. This is my suggestion to you.
White is red category. So white is red category due to water discharge?
Yes, because of effluent. Because when we go for let's say flavored milk, when we go for paneer, when we go for cheese, in that particular case, the BOD level moves, they becomes almost 10 to 15 to 20 times that of milk, and which is almost 1/10 of that of sugar industry. So it's very high.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Do we have any process which emits any air pollution?
In the sense, common one, the boiler is there or DG set is there, nothing else. There's nothing else.
Not anything particular thing.
Air is not that a problem. Air, you know, let's say you can have a gas-based kind of system also. Air you can have for smaller milk processing plant. You can have electrical heaters also. So those things can be taken care of. But water, you know, is something which poses a big threat. So in white category, you can have liquid milk maybe, but liquid milk is not your purpose. The moment you will start making ghee again, you will be in trouble. So why to take that kind of risk?
Air polluting, non-air polluting.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so let's take 3-minute break and again start.
I'm also having one question.
Yeah, please.
Are we receiving any specific aid from the government if we are using indigenous technologies?
Nothing specific to this sector, because this sector has got most of the technologies as indigenous, and there is no specific categorization of technology where some kind of support is being given.
No, are we receiving any kind of financial help or any aid from the government if we are going for indigenous technology?
No, this is what I am saying. Most of the can you elaborate your question? What do you mean by indigenous technology?
If we are using the technologies which are made in India, which are like being made in India, and we are using those type of products for our plant, in that case, will we be receiving any kind of aid from the government?
I think all the machineries, all the technologies being used, let's say in a dairy plant, are made in India. So I doubt whether, because what is made in India for that is that you have taken their designs which have been there for years, for centuries, I would rather say.
Okay.
Now you have indigenized them.
Okay, fine.
So you have full, like you are making pasteurizers with plates where you have breached the copyrights on the design, and now it's making India. So it's happening over here. So
Okay.
I don't foresee anything in that direction. That would there be any support? Support will be, let's say, irrespective whether it's indigenous or foreign technology, support will be common. In the sense that whatever support will be there, it will be applicable to all.
Okay, got it.
That is to best of my knowledge, but still, maybe if you also probe from your side that is there anything specific, you know, which has been somewhere developed in India and which has created waves, and if suppose you use that, then we can explore that, okay, with some departments, if some special support could be given. But to my knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, as on date, there is nothing of that sort.
Fine, we'll do that.
Yeah. So let's meet in 3 minutes. Okay, so let's begin. I hope everyone is there. Let's start. Deepak ji, is my sound clear? Good, thank you. So let's look at technology and what are the different processes related to technology for milk. So as we move onward from, let's say, raw milk, then the first thing which gets done is the heat treatment. So when I say heat treatment, let me give you an example. You might have seen, all these roadside tea shops, and you might have gone to them also, and you might have asked for tea. It is quite possible that they have told you that today milk is not there, or milk has finished in the evening or so, or if you are late somehow. But none of them would have ever told you that their milk has got curdled. And none of these people have got, let's say, a refrigerator. But what is common to all of these people? The most common point is that these people have got a utensil in which milk is being filled up, and that's continuously on a gas chula, and then they are heating it. So they are thermizing it. So the very first process is for any kind of liquid milk handling is heat treatment. And that is also true for all kind of heat and food processing. It is nothing but time and temperature combination. So you do your heating for a particular time, then you get one level of let us say one level of one kind of product with that, and then if you heat it further, so the more we heat, the better the shelf life product gets. So let me put it up like this, that whenever we are talking of milk, so we talk of a process which is called as pasteurization. So when I say pasteurization, so pasteurization is a process basically to somewhere kill the pathogen in milk. So whenever we are there are fresh farm category milk available in the market, people have gone for setting up their commercial dairy farms, and in those commercial dairy farms, then they say that we are selling chilled milk from there as fresh milk, raw milk in fresh form. So I always say that please pasteurize it first and work on a category called as fresh pasteurized milk. So when I say fresh pasteurized milk, why? Because there are pathogens in milk, particularly Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So first thing to be done is pasteurize it and then chill it and then sell it, so that you are doing a job of a responsible entrepreneur and you are giving safe milk to your consumer. Then their second point is, sir, all the consumer will boil the milk, so why should I do it? So I always tell them that please don't put condition on your consumer, because couple of them again say that we have written that please boil before consumption. I say neither you can give orders to your consumer nor you can direct them. You can only suggest them. So what my point is that first process which goes is heating and cooling. So dairy is full of processes of heat exchanges. So cooling, heating, and time temperature combination. Cooling it at that temperature, heating it at that temperature. And one more thing, you are supposed to avoid stopping your milk within 5 to 60 degrees centigrade. And that is true with other food also. So your processing should be designed that either the product should be brought below 5 degree or should be taken above 60 degree. You have to see that none of the processes your product is being held for longer period between 5 to 60. So if we take that particular factor in that. So that way, either we are heating milk beyond 60 or we are chilling milk below 5 degrees centigrade. So first thing is heat treatment. Second is separation, where we separate cream, as I was mentioning, and then we make skim milk, and on the other side we have got cream, we convert that into ghee, and by taking cream off, we are standardizing milk. So we can have milk with 6% fat, we can take out some cream, and then we can make it a toned milk at 50% of that fat. Suppose it has got 6% fat, so toned milk requires 3% fat, so 3% fat I take out using the cream separator and take out in the form of cream. So I'll make, for the 3% fat I will be making, so for example, if I have 100 liters of milk, so I take out 3% fat as I showed you earlier was nothing but ghee. So I can make with 100 liters of milk approximately 100 liters of, let us say, toned milk by adding some powder plus 3 kg of ghee. That is how, you know, we keep on standardizing. We do homogenization. Homogenization is being done basically, it's a process where I size the fat molecules or fat globules. So fat globules are there in the milk ranging from 1 micron to 50 micron. Through homogenization, I size it, all the molecules blue, all the globules blue below, let's say 2 micron. So the surface area of these fat globules, it increases. So what happens then in that particular case? The cream layer is not formed. So malai is an issue. Let's say if you are in bottled milk or flavored bottled milk, malai is an issue. So that malai will not come if you have homogenized it. Homogenization is also done when you are mixing, let's say, butter and powder back to water. As I mentioned to you, you can break milk into, let us say, skim milk powder and ghee and evaporate water. On similar lines, you can also combine these things together. So whenever you are recombining fat with water, it's must that you must use a homogenizer, which is a high pressure machine. Homogenizer is also used for dahi making, where body is required, ice cream making, where again body is required. So all those places where, you know, you are mixing couple of ingredients, and that too by increasing the fat, homogenization is a must. Then you have fermentation, using culture. So it could be in the form of curd or cheese or yogurt, and then mechanical treatments. Two things which are always there in our mind: difference between yogurt and curd and difference between cheese and paneer. So let me put it up like this, that for yogurt we are using specialized culture, L. bulgaricus, S. thermophilus in equal quantities. So that's a typical yogurt culture. If I change the culture and I use other culture, lactic acid bacteria culture, then what the product which I'll be getting will be curd. So it's basically only yogurt is specific to a particular pair of strain of culture, nothing else. That's why it tastes a little bit different. Cheese and paneer is whenever I am coagulating milk, in both the cases I coagulate the milk. But when I coagulate the milk using acid, then the product which I get is paneer, or let us say, and acid should be food grade acid, then it could be paneer or chana or whatever, the indigenous product. But whenever I am using, let's say, an enzyme or culture for this coagulation, like I did it in the case of curd, then it becomes cheese. Then you have ice creams and other products also. So the milk is received, you test it at your plant. Before you make, irrespective of what product you are making, these are common processes. So you weigh it, you test it, you clear it, then you immediately chill it. And after chilling and standardizing, you have to pasteurize it. So you standardize whatever fat level is required, SNF level is required. So maybe you have a composite plant, you are selling liquid milk also, you are selling curd also, you are selling paneer also, you are selling butter and ghee also. So all those products, the primary portion is that you have to standardize it, you have to pasteurize it, and the pasteurization itself, as I mentioned to you, you have to take it to around 72 degrees centigrade temperature for 16 seconds. You have to hold and then again chill to 4 degrees centigrade so the pathogen are killed. Now that milk is ready for you to be used for any process. You can add powder also. Let's say if suppose your milk is short in SNF, solid not fat, then you can add SMP. So this thing always keep with your mind. Milk is equal to ghee plus SMP plus water. So ghee is nothing but fat, SNF is nothing but skim milk powder, water is water. So if suppose for meeting out any standard, if you are falling short of fat, add ghee or butter. If you are falling short of SNF, then add skim milk powder. And that's all. You need not to think of anything else. So this is a simple mathematics like debit credit. In HTST pasteurization, high temperature, short time. So you do it at around 72 degrees centigrade for 16 seconds. If I take it further, if I do it at around, most of the companies in India are doing it 78 to 80 degrees centigrade for let's say 20 seconds. Again, they are doing it because the initial microbial load in milk is high. So the higher the temperature, so the more the log death which you will be getting. In that particular case, better the shelf life. Shelf life of milk in India is for 3 days. And then if the same process is to be adopted, let's say for making curd, then what you can do, you have to heat it at 92 degrees centigrade and you have to hold it for 10 minutes. So that is because you require a specific whey protein denaturation, a specific gel formation, so that for curd, which is spoon curd, which is a set curd. So in that particular case, you get that kind of a body. You increase the SNF also. Paneer can also be made using the same process. You take it to 92 degrees centigrade, hold it for 10 minutes, and then you cool it at around 80-85 degrees centigrade, depending on what kind of paneer you want, soft, hard, for what purpose, and then you coagulate it at that temperature. Homogenizer is being used with this pasteurizer, so you can have an online kind of a system. So minimum online kind of a system where you can do standardization, homogenization, pasteurization in one machine in one go. That minimum capacity is 1000 liters per hour. So we have designed a multi-duty pasteurizer. Probably we were the first one in India to do it, maybe a decade back or so, more than a decade back, where a single pasteurizer, looking at the needs of, dairy entrepreneurs who want to work in a space of, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 liters of milk per day. So single pasteurizer, and then it has got facility to pasteurize milk, to thermize milk for curd, and to heat milk for, let us say, paneer making. So all three in one kind of a thing, and then you can have different processes. So minimum capacity at which such kind of system could be designed on an online basis, not a batch basis, is 1000 liters per hour. Then you have different kind of packaging machines. So you can have pouch. Now jar is also there, depending on your products. But pouch machine are most common because they can be used for milk, they can be used for chaas, they can be used for curd, they can be used for lassi, they can be used for pasteurized flavored milk also. And then you will be storing it in a cold store, so which is a puff insulated. So for that, nowadays you don't require even a building. You can create this structure outside your building also. For dahi yogurt making, one line, and within that line you can have Greek yogurt also made. So these are the kind of products which have. So you can also set up an independent curd, yogurt, Greek yogurt line with smoothies, with chaach like buttermilk. If you have traveled across to Middle East and all, then products like laban also can be made in the same. You can make lassi and stirred yogurt, what the people call it as. So you can make n number of combinations, and you can become a lead, let's say, in yogurt line. Because, and this is a fun product, it can be sold very well on modern trade, through e-commerce, through big basket and all that. So you can independently think of this model also. And on this, the best part is, if required, you can make it milk free also. So I'm not saying a dairy alternative, but you can set up a plant where everything can be done by purchasing skim milk powder and butter from the market and making this product. So you can have those, like in ice cream factory, most of the time people are using butter and skim milk powder to make ice cream. Nobody puts pressure on you that you have to make ice cream using milk and cream only. So on similar line, this option of yogurt and Greek yogurt, maybe with minimal requirement of milk, minimum supplies of milk, but with recombining with other products, it can be done. You can go for paneer making, and similar line can be used for cheese making. You can make mozzarella cheese, you can make some kind of all kind of soft cheese you should preferably go for. You can make processed cheese for that matter, pizza blend, which are very common, or you can make some specific cheeses like feta cheese. You can make cheese dips and all that, which are upcoming segment. You can look into that. So you can have a altogether an exclusive cheese plant, but this cannot be done through recombination. For cheese plant, you will be requiring good quality cow milk, buffalo milk, whatever is available. Buffalo is basically preferred for mozzarella, but mozzarella can be made with cow milk also. You can think of UHT milk also, as I was mentioning. So it's an ultra high treatment with extended shelf life as well as long shelf life. So you can have, say, with pasteurized milk, you have got a shelf life of close to let's say 3 days right now. If you have fresh farm milk with everything under your control, you can get with pasteurized up to 7 to 8 days. But if you UHT the milk, you can get a shelf life anywhere from 45 days to, depending on packaging. If you are packaging it in pouches, then anywhere from 45 days to 90 days. And if you are doing some Tetra brick kind of a thing, then maybe 180 days to 1 year. So this is aseptic pouch packing, and this is a complete composite plant. At very small farm level, minimum viable product could be made. You can have farm milk, you can pouch it, keep it in a chamber at 63 degrees centigrade for half an hour, and then you take this out, you put it in a cold chamber, and the milk is pasteurized and ready to be sold. So these are family models which can be practiced at farm in very small capacity, maybe starting from 250 liters, say, for around maybe 6-7 lakhs rupees, nothing more than that. You have different utilities, refrigeration, hot water, electrical. So these are to support your plant. Then comes the most important part, the quality assurance. So you need to have the fat analyzer, adulteration testing kit, alcohol test and acidity test, protein test. So that can be done with analyzer. So now this thing is being defined in terms of that what is your capacity, what kind of products you are doing, because you have to meet requirements of regulatory now. Particularly for liquid milk, the regulatory has given an STI scheme of testing and inspection. So you have a whole format of tests to be conducted on regular basis. Though there is a condition that you can get it tested from outside also. But sooner or later, plants at all the capacity will have to have capability for physicochemical testing as well as for microbial testing. Because for hygiene, maintenance of hygiene, you need to have a facility for microbial testing. Now, manpower, look at it from, let's say, dairy perspective. The most important person which I find that up to 5, 10, 15, 20,000 liter plant, even for larger plant also, but for these plants in particular, it's going to be the multi-skill electrician, come instrumentation, come fitter kind of a thing. So even fitter part can be ignored, but we require a good electrician come instrumentation person. Reason being, most of the machines, because in dairy, 90% cases, you will be getting problem arising out of some kind of electrical or instrumentation problem. There won't be mechanical problems, are the least, because you don't have any high speed, very few high speed moving parts, machines with high speed moving parts. Most of them are slow speed and not building too much of pressure for the kind of products which I have shared with you till now. So everything depends on, because most of the models, most of the machines which we integrate and give have got a PLC element. So simply a person with that kind of background is more than sufficient to take care of most of your plant. Then we require some quality control person, then definitely packaging operator. But the culture which I suggest you to develop is multi-skilling. So keep on revolving people in the plant. So for, let's say, 5,000 liter plant, you will be requiring close to 16 to 18 persons in the plant. So you keep on rotating them. So instead of having standby in terms of that, okay, 16 persons, out of them 4 are major operators, so let's say 4 plus 4 as their standby. Instead of that, we can have, instead of 4, we can keep, let's say, 5, but let there be a rotation kind of a thing. So let there be a multi-skilling, that culture you have to instill. Time to time training and those kind of things, they are the order of the day. Depending on one packaging operator and then not having any standby in any other format, this will pose a great threat. We have seen situation where initially, as I was mentioning, what are the, kind of fears which you may have, which can disrupt your launch in one way. One of this thing was that the packaging operator, he went for a marriage of his brother or sister or whatever, and then the milk couldn't go to the market because there was no standby. Just see that. I'm not saying that whose fault is this, but I am trying to say that this is just a matter of culture. Another important thing is that always keep have some budget for spares also. Most of the time at initial phases, we think that all the machines are new, so spares are not required. No. Why? Because dairy has got two typical elements associated with it. Number one, it has a daily demand, and secondly, it is perishable. So neither you can hold it for a long time, nor you can afford to have your supplies disrupted somewhere. So that way, enough backup in terms of manpower and spare should be there, so that you have a smooth operation. So indeed, we also provide training in terms of your quality control technicians and all that, so they can be trained at our lab. We'll be definitely, when we integrate the plant, we set up the lab also. But the training could be done even if you have set up a lab and you want some people to be trained. So we have certain modules, they can come. We have an NABL accredited lab for milk and milk product testing. So we can get your person trained over here. Now let's come to the last part before we enter into the question and answer session. So if we look at dairy, so first thing which you have to keep in your mind is, don't enter into dairy because there is a very high, it's a very high margin or high profitability business. I don't agree to that. I would rather say that come to dairy if you are, so one of the capability which you should have if you want to reap maximum out of this dairy harvest is that you should have capability to collect money from the market. Because in case of dairy, it's a cash sale. If some payment has not been taken up from the market, it is your fault. It is not the fault of dealer, because the market norm says it's a daily sales. All fresh products, be it milk, curd, anything, all are being sold on cash. So first thing is, come into this business once you have got capability to retrieve money from the market. Because I also have cases where the person, even after setting up a very good plant in a very there was a state dairy monopoly was there, and rest of the market was vacant. There was a big space, and he got very good market share also, but unfortunately he couldn't do his credit collection well, he couldn't do his crate collection well. So it is not only money, it is tangible part, that is crates also. It's a cash flow business. Net profit is not more than 2 to 4%. Even with value added products, EBITDA is not going to be more than 12 to 14%. That is the number which we are playing. But when I say net profit of 2 to 4%, then I am saying 2 to 4% on daily basis, 365 times a day. Even if you leave, let's say the first day sale, you leave, you say, okay, आज का पैसा मुझे कल मिलेगा. So leave about, so 1 day working capital is there. We also call it dairy as a negative working capital industry. But then it all depends on you. So you have to enter into this business from this perspective, that at least for fresh category, you have to collect cash on regular basis. So your team should be strong enough to do it. Now we can see money at all three levels: procurement, processing, marketing. So when you procure milk on your own. So normally we buy milk in liters and sells in kg to our plant. So when we buy in liters. So in liter to kg conversion, there is a margin of 3%. So we gain 3% just by doing nothing if we have our own procurement. If somebody else is doing the procurement, he will be taking that 3%. So that is how we have to look at it. Because 1 liter of milk is equal to 1 kg 30 grams of milk. So that is a conversion which you will be learning once you will be there into the business. Second part is processing. So depending on, through your efficiencies, productivity, definitely you can make margins. And again, there is a concept of value added products. So you know very well. For example, if I have toned milk and if I sell that toned milk at 46 or 47 rupees or 48 rupees to a liter, if I make curd out of the same product with almost the same volume and pack it in cups, then I can sell 100 ml cup for, let's say, 10 rupees. So it's 100 rupees to a liter. You can very well visualize the kind of value addition going on. Then marketing, how you are marketing it, which channel you have chosen. If you have chosen modern trade, normally modern trade do not put their hands on fresh products. But if you have you have joined modern trade, then 20-30% kind of margin they always talk about. For fresh, maybe not less than 15-18%. Now you have to see that who is actually earning there. And today is the time when so many stakeholders are available, so many supply chain people are available, that you can have your own kind of supply chain for your product. So there is no issue at all. You can think on those lines. And now, what are the factors which affect the cost? So from costing point of view, the yield, let's say, so you are using 100 liters of milk, you are making paneer with a particular milk standard. So maybe you can get from X to Y percentage of yield. So let's say with 4.5% fat and 8.5% SNF, which is standardized milk, you get 17% paneer out of 100 liters of milk. Now in that particular case, if suppose with some technology or maybe with some kind of change in process parameters, or by adding something to the milk, I'm not saying whatever is legal, by adding such kind of thing, if you can make this yield increase from 17 to 19% or 20%, definitely your costing will reduce. Method of milk procurement, as I have mentioned to you, that are you buying it on your own or you are buying it from contractor. And then again, the quality. So at times, if you are buying directly from farmer, the quality is very good, and as against contractor, so SNF is same, but maybe protein is more or less, so your yield might get affected. The kind of technology which you are using, the packaging which you are using. So milk being sold in pouch, the pouch cost is say around 1 to 1 rupee 50 paisa. Being sold in glass bottle in a recyclable manner, maybe 3.5 to 4 rupees. Selling in paper carton, maybe around 5.5 to 6 rupees. In PET bottle, 10 to 11 rupees. Tetra pack, 9 to 10 rupees. So packaging itself, is changing the costing parameters. Organizational structure, your location, if you are in a too distant location or in at a not so convenient location, everything will be an additional cost to you. Even, for a simple courier, you will have to send your vehicle to get it retrieved, because courier person is not going to deliver it at your place because it is somewhere in awkward location. Type of fuel. For example, if you use diesel as a boiler fuel, then it costs high. Electrical high. If suppose your plant capacity is high and you try to use electrical, up to let's say 1000 liter per hour pasteurizer, there is not much of issue, which we design, at least for milk. But maybe beyond that, there might be issues related to that cost will be high. On the other side, if you are using rice husk or something like that, then probably your cost will be low. So these are also factors. And finally, capacity utilization. What kind of capacity you are utilizing? So the more capacity utilization, the lesser, let us say, the cost. These are some simple process costing details which we are sharing at some good scale. So chilling, pasteurizing, maybe 50 paisa to 1 rupee per liter. Dahi making, 175 to 300. So after making it, then there are the packaging charges. So in that packaging, you can always look for the more unitary packaging you are going for, the more smaller packaging you are going in for, the cost will increase. The bulk packaging you are going in for, the cost, additional cost or the marginal cost will be less. So this is an example in which you can see the kind of, the margins which emerge. So let's say raw milk available at 32 rupees 50 paisa. Practically in UP, it is available right now at this price only. So commission of 4%, 1 rupee 20 paisa, logistics 70 paisa, processing cost plus fixed cost 2 rupees 50 paisa, packaging cost 1 rupee 50 paisa, distribution cost at 4 rupees, dealer margin 2 rupees, selling price today I have written 48, but today it is 56 for the same quality of milk. So you can imagine, the kind of margins with these milk people are making nowadays. So net margin with this structure is 3 rupees 60 paisa. So what we do, so before I come on this, that what we do and how we can help you out, first let us have a question from you people. And let me open it for discussion. And what I would like that if you can one by one introduce yourself and unmute yourself, and then you share your, so I may start with Sonalji. He may start.
So just a minute, sir. I'm having some problems, sir, at my end.
Okay, Sonalji, no problem. Mr. Deepak Maheshwari, if you can share. If you have any question, then please ask first. Deepakji, you are mute. You will have to unmute yourself.
Hello, sir.
Any question, Deepakji?
Yes, there are questions.
Yeah.
Like if we want to go in a farm fresh category.
Yeah.
So I'm taking some farm fresh milk from some vendor in Lucknow. So he's just chilling and sending it to me. So they are not pasteurizing it, na?
Yeah. I don't know whether they are pasteurizing it or not, but from regulatory front, sooner or later, post-COVID, they will become more strict. So I am part of a program which is called as Verified Milk Vendor Program. So in that, all these milk people who are into business of selling raw milk and they want to breed themselves also, they will have to get themselves registered, as well as sooner or later they will have to go for processing it and pasteurizing it.
Okay. So raw milk is better or pasteurized milk is better?
Better in terms of what?
In terms of after going in the body, which will help more to the person.
So let me tell you that you have to look at the kind of pathogens which milk could have. So suppose you are going for raw milk and you might have visited dairy farms also or goshalas also. So the kind of hygienic conditions in which animals are being kept or milk, so they are highly compromised. And there are all probable chances you really do not know whether the animal is healthy or not. So the milk which has come out, once it gets pasteurized, then at least it becomes safe. We need to be, towards our health, we need not to be emotional. We need to be rational. So all the time pasteurized milk is good, and by pasteurizing it, because you are heating it for a very short duration, You are not compromising with the nutrition part of it, so don't worry about it.
And from the commercial point of view, if we say to consumer that this is a raw milk and from directly from farm to your home, so it connects very much. But when we go for pasteurization, or if we don't write raw milk, then it could be an issue with the consumer also, na?
It all depends what kind of dialogue you make with the consumer. You know, you have to talk to them and you have to simply say that it's a fresh farm milk and we are making it safe for you. And right now it's a time of COVID, so you can make use of this statement very easily.
Okay.
Otherwise, there is no difference in between you and any other doodh wala.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you simply say we are making it safe for you. You talk from that premise.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, ji. Sonal ji, is your
Yes,
system
sir.
okay now? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine now. So let me introduce myself. I am Sonal Agrawal from Mathura, and we are presently in the business of hospitality and real estate. And prior to even COVID, we were looking for some expansion, some diversion, and this product was in my mind for last 2-3 years. This process was going on, but due to the COVID, this process has been hastened since both of our industries, hospitality and real estate, are highly affected due to post-COVID scenario, and it is going to be affected in near future.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So this process has been hastened by this COVID. So I have a few questions. One, my main concern is pollution. Mathura being part of TTZ, now navigating through pollution department is a very difficult thing in TTZ area. As you told me, it is a red category, so I think it will be a very difficult situation. One thing I wanted to know the role of water. You said for every liter of milk to be processed, you need 2 liters of water.
Yes.
So I don't think water is being added to the milk. It must be used in boiler or something or some other processes. So
it all depends. It all depends what kind of product you are making. When you have shortage of milk, then it can be added to water also. When you are making product like buttermilk, it can be added to milk also. So it all depends. It's all the process requirement. But the thing is that we have to prepare ourselves with this, but lesser we use, better.
So quality of water is also an issue because in Mathura,
I mentioned to you BIS 10500, potable water is required.
BIS 10500. I will check it. Okay, sir. That.
Thank you.
What will be the pollutants in water discharge which needs to be treated?
You can consider BOD level of around 1000, 1100 and COD level of around 2500. That is minimum.
Any chemicals, harmful chemicals?
No, nothing.
One more thing, what should be the ideal size for a new entrepreneur who is entering in this business? What do you suggest?
You see, nowadays, I think very small and marginalized player, it will be difficult for them to survive. Because number one, they won't be available at many places, and number two, it will be very difficult for them to justify it to retailers that they are a big brand.
Okay.
So in that particular case, I think anything below, let's say 5-10,000 liter will not be making any sense unless you want to make it very niche like Greek yogurt or those kind of products.
When you say 5,000 or 10,000, it means per day?
Yes, per day, minimum.
Per day. How many hours working? How many hours working? The plant works for how many hours?
No, don't go by that. Normally, it all depends. You can make it 24 hours also. But for fresh category, you know, if your volumes are high, you will have to run 24 hours. But this 5 to 10,000 liter, when you set up the plant, when we design it from the perspective of, let's say that your work should be finished in 8 to 10 hours. Because later on, what happens, you have to spend time in market also, which is very important.
One more thing, sir. In this organized sector, the market is fragmented among the very big players. Like Amul is there, in NCR, Mother Dairy is there, and other plants of Vita are there. So, is there a room for niche players, small players, prospective small players like us who can compete with these brands? Mother.
Definitely, by working on your products and by working on your product mix strategies, yes, things can be done. As I was mentioning to you earlier also, the very second question was how to break the sameness. So that can be done by scale also, that can be done by developing some typical product mix, or that can be done by identifying those localities where those people are weak, but with a scale. That is why I'm saying small scale is not going to work.
Since Mathura has a very cultural linkage with milk, as long as you can think of Mathura, as long as you can think of milk, Mathura comes to there. So there is an emotional bond when you think of Mathura and milk. So can that be?
I think post COVID, a lot of bonds will get break up. Reason being, we all are living. I'm a regular visitor to some temple on some typical day. You also must be doing the same. My other friends also might be doing the same. Now it's almost 7-8 weeks, let's say, and we have not gone to those places and still surviving and living on our own. And even I'm not very sure the day that temple will open up, whether I'll be in a position to go over there or not. I'm not sure, though I would like to go. So what my point is that time is changing. Let us try to be practical and rational, because post COVID, a lot of things will change. I'm not saying they will be changed completely. There will be a tendency for people to be more safe and more concerned about their food, at least. So don't worry. We can take this discussion further, in the sense later on, first you munch whatever has been shared today, and then you come back to us. You will be getting some kind of information from us also post this program. Then we can take this dialogue further. Kamaljeet ji.
Yeah.
Hanji Kamaljeet ji, any question?
Yeah, this is Kamaljeet from actually Navi Mumbai. We are actually having a plan to set up a processing plant in Jabalpur. Right.
Okay.
So there, actually it's an area nearby Jabalpur, not exactly Jabalpur. The location is having a population of about 2 lakhs. And as you said earlier, that below 5,000 liter per day plant is may not be going to be a viable model.
But I think for a city like with a population of 2 lakhs, maybe you can think of smaller plant also, if there is no exposition of big players. For example, Jabalpur is a very typical city, but you are not considering that. But okay. Jabalpur is a city where we have got largest number of these tabelas or dairy farms also.
Yeah.
So over there, structure is highly informal. Over there, if suppose you want to tackle Jabalpur, then even 5-10,000 liter is a good enough to start with. Okay. And if the city is much, because you will have to see that again, instead of, we are keeping our focus on Amul and Mother Dairy. Rather, I am saying keep your focus on market else than Amul and Mother Dairy. So if you find, as per that population theory, the market share of this Amul and Mother Dairy is still, let's say, 40% or so, or 35-40% or so, let's say, and majority is unorganized player, go ahead, there is no problem. But if Amul Mother Dairy has done, let's say, 60, 70, 80%, then in that particular case, it's better to look for some specialized products rather than all the products.
Okay. Okay. And
so you may please go ahead, there is no problem.
Yeah, I'm having one more question. See, what are those parameters we need to keep a check on while we are procuring the milk?
Nothing very special, except for you need to understand that what is the profile of milk over there, whether it is buffalo or whether it is cow. We have done a project we launched Mahindra from that area only. We set up a chilling center for them at Damo, which is near to Jabalpur.
Okay.
And then we saw that there are a lot of Yadavs in that particular area who are rearing buffaloes and all that. So first of all, you have to look at the profile of the milk which is available, who are the purchasing people. Then you also look, if you are procuring that, what kind of veterinary facilities are available for the farmer. Because sooner or later, you will be depending on the ecosystem of farmers over there. So look at it from that, the kind of prices which are there. So these are the general criteria, and also see if every other day you are getting media news related to adulterated milk from that area. So that also you should consider before entering. And then there is a specific protocol by which the potential of the area is assessed. So don't worry about that. Once you reach to that level, those things can be done. It's very safe game.
Okay.
You will be able to assess it easily. Not much of a problem.
Okay. And are there any specific incentives scheme which are being given to
yes, I'll be closing the session with that in one go.
Okay, fine. And in terms of income tax, is there any rebate for dairy entrepreneurs?
For 5 years, this particular thing, they have started to consider it as a tax-free, but still they apply MAT on this. So that minimum alternative tax. So you will have to talk to your CA that how he'll be presenting your case. But yes,
so
there is an exemption.
There are some exemptions. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Sukhveer ji.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Ji, good afternoon, sir. Please tell me.
Sir, yes, I've been following your videos and they're really informational. And like I have some questions like regarding farm fresh and pasteurized milk. That
Yes,
like
please.
if I shift from like farm fresh to a pasteurized milk, then there will be a taste change in the milk, or because the customer will be they are used to the local doodh wala flavor, and after pasteurization, is there any taste difference comes in the milk?
There are two aspects to it. Number one, is this farm fresh milk, is it being collected from many farmers or is it being collected from one large farm, one or two large farm? If it is being collected from one or two large farm, then probably what we can do, we can pasteurize this milk at lower temperature of 70 to 73 degrees centigrade and keep it for 16 seconds. And there would be hardly any change in taste. But if suppose we are collecting it from small farmers and we are not very sure of the quality, then we will have to pasteurize it at 78, 80 degrees centigrade. In that particular case, yes, consumer will be able to, the typical consumer, who is habitual of taking raw milk from the farmer, he will be able to identify it. But which location you are talking about?
Sir, I am located in Ludhiana, and the market I want to target is Doraha, which is around small city, around 25,000 population.
And where is it exactly? In Punjab only?
Sir, yes, it's like 20 kilometers from Ludhiana city. So my village is based in between the both cities, like Ludhiana and Doraha, just in between there. And sir, one more question, like what is the, like, suppose for a 1,000 liter plant, what would be the cost for a farm fresh milk processing versus the pasteurized milk processing? So how much the cost difference is there?
No, in terms of processing, both are same. We don't treat them differently. So maybe for 1,000 liter per day, whether you go for 1,000 liter per day or 5,000 liter per day, I will suggest you to go for a pasteurization system of 1,000 liter per hour. Reason being that tomorrow when you expand, at that time, you should be in a position to do everything online. So if you go by that method, so only for polypacking milk, in both the cases, whether it is farm fresh milk or it is milk collected through someone and then being pasteurized. So at the pasteurization plant level, the project cost may start anywhere from, let's say, 25 lakhs rupees onwards, plus land, building, etc.
Okay, and lastly, sir, like if like for the expansion of a plant, like from 1,000 to 5,000 liters, so will it be like is it easy to extend the plant, or we have to like make it a bigger before actually getting into the business?
For that particular thing, if you are taking a 1,000 liter per hour line right from the beginning, then it is only addition of certain storage tanks and nothing else.
Okay.
So there is nothing else, it only storage tanks, they are more than sufficient. So you need not to worry about that. Why I'm suggesting you, because if you go for a small plant, then when you are expanding, we also have to look that by maybe saving 3, 4, 5 lakhs rupees now, we will be making equipment worth 5, 10, 15 lakhs rupees, let's say, redundant once we are going for expansion. And one more thing I would like to add over here, as an entrepreneur, always plan for success. We are having a habit of planning for failure. So wherever there are chances for failure, we have a general tendency to prepare ourselves for that. I say you please prepare yourself for the success. So for that, look for that. If budget is not there, then we can also look at that, okay, what other kind of products we can do, or what other kind of technology we can make use of. If the concept is validated, and in the pre-feasibility report, if the numbers are supporting you, then we can look for other technologies also.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Parul Singh. Parulji, are you there? Okay, so in that particular case, Deepak Maheshwari ji, I have talked to you. Is there anyone who is left now?
Sir, I had one more question regarding the electric load.
Anji.
Sir, I wanted to know about the electrical load requirements of say 10,000.
It all depends, what capacity of plant you are setting up, but it's not much. Don't worry about that. In your area, electrical is not a problem. The problem is pollution. Just look at it from that single perspective.
Sir, the pollution, Taj Mahal is the biggest curse for us.
But Taj Mahal has been reason for your hospitality industry also, Krishanji, and Taj Mahal.
Sir, not for Mathura, sir. It's a very fractional. But Taj Mahal get in a whole year, we get in a day. More than that.
But I am saying that Krishanji and Taj Mahal. I'm not saying Taj Mahal alone. I mentioned Krishanji first for that matter. Okay. So now let's conclude by first let me tell you that what kind of schemes have been announced by Government of India. So there are one of the major scheme which has come for the first time is called as Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Fund. For that 15,000 crore rupees has been announced by the government, and the best part is that in this 15,000 crore rupees, private sector could also participate. So there are 3-4 dimensions to this scheme. Number one, it will take care of cattle feed manufacturing plants. It will also be considering value added products, that is cheese, butter, those kind of things. It will help in building an extra capacity of 5 crore liters of milk processing per day. And lastly, there will be some special export incentives will be given for export oriented units. For your information, currently from India, the products being exported in dairy category, most of them are skim milk powder, though it is not possible for quite some time without government support, because global price of powder is very low. For example, today's price is $2,500 per ton, which is close to 175-180 rupees per kg, as against Indian milk powder, which was before COVID, which was around 310 to 330 rupees. The second important thing is the second important product is ghee. So Middle East and all that, Indian ghee is being sold like anything. Third product is going are frozen sweets and frozen paneer, frozen rasmalai, frozen barfi, those kind of products are going. And then there is another category which is casein. Now because of this problem of COVID, so that thing has been impacted a lot. But these are the few of the export oriented kind of products in dairy category. So this 15,000 crore, in which form it will come, we really do not know. But then there are some state-led schemes also, like Jammu and Kashmir. They are giving a very high level kind of subsidy for setting up dairy units, milk chilling plants, dairy plants, ATM, that is anytime milk vending system, and all those kind of things. Similarly, all states have their policy. Once you reach to some final kind of once you are in a final stage of decision making, at that time we can check in your state what kind of state subsidies are there, because they are yet to be announced, because the budget for this sector has got cleared just now, last week only. So slowly and steadily, we will be getting the kind of information. And one thing I would like to add over here, now you will be part of a WhatsApp group, which is, the name is Breaking the Horizon. And you will be part of that group. You will be keep on getting the updates till you want to leave the group. We are not going to leave you. And on every Thursday, I am running a live session on YouTube now, which started last week. So you can anytime, don't think that you missed out on some question. You can always come in that program and you can ask me. It's a 30 minutes program from 1 to 1:30 on every Thursday, until unless there is some kind of change which will be pre-announced. So state level and this national level thing will come up. Even NABARD DEDS scheme, its structure will be announced soon, because last time approval was given on 10th April. This year the approval has not yet come. But yes, but that is for smaller plants. For bigger plants, another scheme is that is coming under 1 lakh crore agriculture infrastructure fund. So in that, Pradhan Mantri Sampada Yojana is there, in which up to 50% subsidy is there for the processing plants and all that. Though there are plethora of schemes for this category, but my humble suggestion to all of you is, don't come to this project because scheme is there. Come to this project because there are merits in this project. Come to this project because you really want to do it. Let that subsidy act as a bonus. So now from this moment onwards, the way we can help you out. So we are into consulting and turnkey project business. So for your new business, we can help you in concept validation. Whatever you are thinking, we can help you in validating the same concept. It can be done through mentorship. It can be done through some paid calls or something like that. Because meeting, I still feel that it'll take longer. Then the most important thing is pre-feasibility study. So you'll be getting a communication from our side, in which different types of pre-feasibility studies are available off the shelf. You have to simply book it. Then we will be sending you some checklist, and you can get a document which you can share with your investors or financial banks or financial partners, whomsoever, and you can understand about your product, whether it is feasible, how much it is feasible, and all the data will be collected from you. So don't worry, it's not that we are going to make the project feasible. And the whole pre-feasibility report has been prepared on a NABARD format. So in that particular case, you go to any financial institution, it will be acceptable. But definitely you will have to get your side or details from your side for making a detailed project report. The data then your CA will be using for filling the financial institution application. That is in the business plan preparation. If any need is required in that also, we can help you. Then your complete project management, we can take it up. And for smaller project, our turnkey project supplies division can help you in that. And where we can integrate plant by taking it from various vendors. We can help you in product development if you want to do some innovative products or beverages or some specialized cheese or fermented milk products, yogurts, Greek yogurt, smoothies and all that. We can help you with regulatory compliance. We'll tell you what all is required to be done for FSSAI license, pollution control board, metrology. We have got a vertical on that which can help you. It's not about licensing, it's about guiding. And then creating your food safety management system in terms of HACCP and all that. We can also help you in developing. So we have got some good companies which are developing branding and those kind of things. We can connect you with them, and we can develop some good sales and marketing strategy. Even for surveys and all that, we can support your team by sharing the kind of data which needs to be captured. I told you earlier, you have to start from market onwards. And lastly, your pilot production and stabilization. And even if you are purchasing equipment from somewhere else, we have team which can integrate, install and commission it also. But this is just for your information so that you can keep it back of your mind. Then, we have got options for due diligence in case some kind of existing business is to be acquired and all that. So that is just for your information. And maybe if somebody wants to enter into India, we are supporting those organizations also. So our ultimate aim is energizing your investment in dairy sector. That's what the aim is. So with this, thank you very much for being part of this masterclass. I hope it will be of some use to you, and I would like you to please to give some thorough kind of spend some time with this whatever you have learned today before taking any decision, and we will be in constant touch with you. Don't worry. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much. Nice having you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
WhatsApp group.